Hello and welcome to the Golf Course Lawn Show. My name is Ron Henry and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works is really simple. On your screen, you will see a chat box. In that chat box, you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Now, sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care and sometimes life. Guys, it is officially the middle of August. That means that if you have warm season turf grass, or you got cool season turf grass, or you're not planning to overseed, the window to start thinking about pre-emergent is just around the corner. Summer is starting to slow down a little bit, which is also nice. You know, the temperatures are not quite as hot as they were last month, so overall enjoying this month. So tonight we got some really cool cool content for you. We got some pictures of various lawns, some in great shape, some in not so great shape on the struggle bus. We have some new equipment. Actually, I saw this picture. I got it like maybe 20 minutes or so before the show started, and I needed a moment with this piece of equipment that I just got this picture of. I mean, it's pretty incredible, pretty mint. So we'll share all that with you guys. As always, we're coming to you guys on YouTube as our primary platform, but you can also watch the show on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So whichever way you want to consume the content, feel free to jump in. If you want to skip the line, you have a question, you know what, I don't want to wait for him to get through everyone else's question before you get to mine, feel free to make use of the Cash App. That is a way for us to one, you can support the channel financially and also get your question jumped to the front of the line if you so desire. All right. With all that said, let's get into it. We got Mr. Jackie Bear saying, Brother Ron, have an excellent stream, sir. Happy weekend, everybody. Have a great weekend to you as well, Jackie Bear. Thanks for coming by to say hello. And then next up, we got Mr. B.S. Smith 333. He says, hey, Ron, it's the no stripe guy giving you mad props. Love you, bro. I appreciate that, man. It's hey, you know, listen, not everybody is about having like lawn stripes. You know, you don't have to necessarily embrace the stripe action. What you can't do though is be like, hey, I hate lawn stripes. Like some of the emails, some of the comments I get from folks being like, why do you stripe your lawn? It's so silly. I would never let anyone do that. And I just say, hey man, you're probably never gonna be happy here because it's not ever gonna change. I promise. Like there's a few things that might change. That's probably never gonna change. So, but yeah, man, all lovers of lawn care are welcome. So thanks for stopping by to say hello. Appreciate you as always. All right. Next up is Jeff Hiroji. He says, hey, Ron, happy Friday. In an earlier podcast, you mentioned you used to mulch your lawn. Do you have any pictures of that lawn? Also, if mowing twice per week, will thatch be a problem? Okay, so a couple things in that. Do I have any pictures of the lawn from when I used to mulch it? If you look at any of my content from 2021 or earlier, is when you would see when I would mulch the clippings back into the lawn. So any of those YouTube videos you'd see, that's when the lawn's being mulched. It still looked pretty good. The colors look great. Not as good as it looks with all the clippings being bagged. But if you look at any of my older content, like go into YouTube, the YouTube channel, go to like videos and just sort by date. And then anything like older than pretty much before the Owlet came is when I started religiously always catching my clippings, and I stopped mulching quite so often. Like this year, I've not mulched a single time. Like every single time I've caught all the clippings. Never not mulched my lawn. I've not mulched my lawn this year at all. And as far as thatch, no. So here's the thing, Jeff. If you're mowing a couple times per week, thatch really shouldn't be an issue. The thing that really causes thatch is probably more than anything else is over fertilization. So if you put too much nitrogen into the lawn, you're starting to to use commonly thrown around term, you're trying to push a bunch of growth like that. Will contribute to thatch much more than mowing twice per week. Now, if you're mowing, quite infrequently, once every couple of weeks, then yeah, I mean, the lawn could be growing at a rate that's faster than its ability for those clippings to break down. But if you're mowing again twice a week, I mean, what you're taking off is not going to really be that much, and that really should have a problem with those clippings breaking down. So to answer your question, twice per week mowing is not going to materially really contribute to thatch. What will do that is if you're over fertilizing the lawn, that will create conditions where thatch can be much more of a problem. Probably the biggest reason why I enjoy not mulching but bagging my clippings more so than mulching is just appearance. It's appearance. Like the color looks better. There's even though the clippings they're really small and they break down relatively quickly, they still do change the appearance of the lawn, especially a couple of days afterwards when that grass clipping that was green from the time you cut it turns to like brown, right? So it does change the look of the lawn. So for that reason, I don't mulch. You have less disease issues, the less debris you put into the lawn. What else? Mushrooms are not, I don't have issues with mushrooms growing in the lawn. I say issues, but I don't have that as much of a thing. Versus when I used to mulch clippings into the lawn. What else? Dragging or carrying grass clippings into the house. If you're out there walking around, you got shoes. You're obviously wearing shoes when you're mowing, but I mean, when you walk from outside to into the house, you're also going to bring more clippings in if you are mulching all that in your lawn. So there's a lot that goes along to it. Some of the benefits now, some of the reasons for mulching, things in the pro column, is that you make it's like free fertilizer. Like you are putting nutrient right back into the soil, so you get more out of just the organic material breaking down, and that does help feed the existing turf grass. So there are some benefits from a nutrient standpoint to mulching your clippings. But if you don't care about that quite as much and you're more vain, you want the lawn to look as nice as possible, then you're going to catch them. You're going to bag. So hope that helps, sir. Great question. Hopefully that helps you decide which way is best for you. And what you can do, Jeff, you can also split the difference. It's not like this is an either or thing. You can do, you could bag your clippings twice, and then every third time you mow, you mulch. You could do that. You don't necessarily have to go cold turkey like I do. You know what I mean? But however, I'll show you now, like the front lawn being Xeon Zoysia. I think I've got some video of it from today. So this guy, think about this lawn. This lawn is now 4 months old, has never been mulched a single time. It's always had all the clippings caught. And the color looks nicer. You can see it's still growing through the top dressing there in the vanity strip, a little bit of sand that's still got to go through because, hashtag Zoysia. But the color, stripes, all of it are spectacular, and bagging the clippings absolutely helps with that. So really your call whether the extra work is for you. I'd say this, Jeff, while I look for the next question, if you have an easy way to dispose of the clippings, then I would consider it. If you don't have a way of disposing of them, then it's probably not worth the headache. All right, next up is Colin. He says, what's up, Ron? Hopefully your Friday has been well. It's been good, man. I can't complain. It's been good. It's been solid. He says, tuned in for some great turf talk. Missed the last couple months, but we are here today. I appreciate that, man. And Colin, in true form, you're returning with all guns blazing. Sent some pictures of his lawn. Now, Colin has a grass type that many of you may not be as familiar with. It's a seashore paspalum. Kind of a cool grass. I believe it's also used in the Brave Stadium. I think it was SunTrust Park, wherever they play, or Truist, whatever it's called. It's not SunTrust anymore. I think it's Truist now. So wherever they play, I believe that turf is paspalum. But yeah, you can see that my man is striping in both directions. Color looks great. Not bad for August. Not bad at all. Looks really good, man. Looks really good. Great work. It's coming through really nicely. And that lawn's been through a lot. He has gone through and done some resodding over, I think last season is when he did that. So just what you're seeing now is like the culmination of all of that really coming together closer towards the end of the season. So great work. Thanks for sending us the pictures, Colin. And again, keep us posted as far as how it continues to develop. All right, B.S. Smith is weighing in on his choice. He says, my choice is between low cutting and striping. And for this season, I choose low cut. Nice. I get it. Everyone's got to do that. Everyone's got to have a season where they say, I'm going to take it as low as I can take it, under half an inch, 0.3 inches, take the pictures, post them in all the groups and show everybody, look at me. Look at how incredible I am. My lawn, I am at, under half an inch and it's still maintaining its color. So I think everyone should do that at least once. And I think you'll begin to see it, especially if you're going to try it for all season long, that the juice is not necessarily worth the squeeze. But it just depends, man. Whatever makes you happy in your lawn, you should do that. You enjoy it. All right. Next up is Mr. 600RR. He says, hey, Ron, I need your help with dollar spot. Applied headway about a month ago. Zoysia lawn. What now? How do I send pictures? Yeah, so the best way to send pictures in, Mr. 600, is really to send them in before the show starts. It's more difficult for me to get them on mid-show. I do it every now and then, but if you need to send a picture of what you're dealing with, you can send it to this email address, which is, let's see here. It's ron@golfcourselawn.com. That one right there. That will come to me. And if you are going to take a picture, please have it formatted in landscape, not portraits. If you got a phone outside, turn your phone like this. Turn your phone sideways to take the picture, not like this. All right? Because for the aspect ratio of the video, it just works out better if you take it in that format for me. All right? But it sounds like you had some dollar spots. Sorry to hear that. You applied headway and it says Zoysia lawn. Yeah, I'll take a look at the pictures and let you know what I think. All right, next up is Mr. Follow Rob Thomas. He says, evening, gang. Best of luck to all you starting renovation projects soon, and go a team that is not the Georgia Bulldogs. Something eyes. Thanks for coming by, Rob Thomas. I appreciate it. And yeah, you're right. For anyone that is, if you have a cool season lawn, you might be getting ready to overseed to help picking up the lawn, maybe help it recover from some damage during the summer months. If you got a warm season lawn, you're thinking, you know what? I want my lawn to be green all year round. So you're going to go for that ryegrass overseed. So yeah, you're right. August is a busy time. August, September, a busy time also for lawn care as well, right? Okay, next up we have Mr. Chris. Happy so far. He says, hey, Ron, I appreciate your channel. Thanks so much, Chris. I really appreciate that. I'm glad that you're getting value out of it. It's changed a lot over the years, or the focus has changed quite a bit over the years. So I'm glad that the current content is useful and valuable for you. So thanks so much for watching. All right, next up is B.S. Smith. He's back. He's been out of work since March, so trying to economize by just mowing low. Next year will hopefully be different. Well, yeah, man, hopefully, I'm not sure what the situation is about work, but hopefully you're able to find a gig here soon, man, because that's important. That is important. We got Mr. Michael Thomason. So Michael Thomason was, for any of you guys that don't know, he was the guy that went from, I think it's Tifway 419 to Tahoma 31. So he went from one type of Bermuda to a different type of Bermuda. So hard mode as far as renovations go. And he says, evening, Ron, with the Tahoma 31, is it too late to do a soil sample and correct the discrepancies, or should I wait until next spring? It's not too late for a fall soil test. No, not at all, Michael. So what I'd say is, for me, I stop granular fertilizer inputs in October. So October is the last time I do any granular fertilizer going into my lawn as far as like nitrogen goes. So if you did a soil test now, you're going to have it back within, a week or so, we can change. So if you'd have it back before the beginning of September, so you could take that data and use that to drive your fertilization program for the month of September. And if you're like me and you say, hey, October's when I'm going to hang it up, or you like to live dangerously and say, October, we can go one more time. We can fully send it one more time in October. Then you got 2 months to be able to work on correcting that. So I would say, yes, there's still value in doing so. I would still do a soil test, and you still got plenty of season left to be able to get at least one app of a granular fertilizer in, perhaps even 2, depending on where you are, and depending on how concerned you are about spring dead spot. Again, also depends on what your results say. Your results might say that you got adequate nitrogen, and maybe you need more phosphorus. In which case you'd go with a lower nitrogen fertilizer, higher phosphorus. So we won't know until we have the soil test data. Now, will we? But to answer your question, there's still time, is what I would say. Okay, Kevin Hester is up next. He says, been a while. I've had a great season thanks to you and others' advice. Not over yet. You're right. It is not over. Still plenty of time. He says, wish I had done a Verticut or how to cut reset in July. Don't think I will do it at this point. Yeah, I mean, there's still, if you do it now, the lawn is going to recover. I mean, we still got the rest of August, all of September, really before the lawn begins really slowing down. But if you want the lawn to look, really nice for the remainder of the season and not have to deal with any kind of discoloration, then now would not be the best time to do a high to cut reset, Kevin. So, you live and learn. Next year, whenever June rolls around, then end of May, early June, do your first Verticut or high to cut reset, and then you can decide for yourself if end of July, early August, you want to do another one. That's definitely an option. But like everything else, man, you can always you can look at guidance from various people online, various different programs, and you can take the parts of it that you think will work well for you, and if the things that you omitted that someone suggests, like for example, I recommend for warm season turf grass, especially if you're real mowing it, in May, the end of May, early June, end of June, early July, and then potentially also end of July, early August to do a Verticut, because that's going to help thin out the lawn, and it's going to help maintain a quality of cut that you will not get if you just scalp the lawn in the early spring and then you just mow the lawn especially with a real mower all season. What you're going to find is the mower is going to begin to float, and you're going to start getting scalping and uneven cutting in areas you didn't used to before. So you've learned that for this season. So next year, maybe you just do 2, maybe not 3 Verticuts. Maybe you start with 1 and then say, hey, this wasn't that bad. I can do a second one, and just kind of go on from there. All right. Live and learn. Live and learn. It's just grass. It'll be okay. All right. Next up is Jeff. He says, thanks again. I wish I had to mow without bagging to beat the rain. It was a time thing. Well, yeah, man. Jeff, if we're talking about like one time, it really doesn't matter. You're going to be okay. I think you're talking about more of like a way of mowing the lawn all season. If you have one situation there where you're mulching, then it's not really going to matter. It's not that big of a deal. You will be just fine. All right. True Gator Fan is up next. It's Happy Friday, Ron. Finally caught the tricky mole. I like it. I said, I felt my own personal Caddyshack, LOL, now waiting on the lawn to repair itself. It shouldn't take too long with this heat. Yeah, it doesn't take too long to bounce back. What you'll tend to find is if you had to have the trap in the same spot for several days, I find the trap actually does more damage as far as discoloring that part of the lawn than what the mold did. Like the lawn recovering from mold damage, especially in the summer, shouldn't take very long. I mean, it should bounce back fairly quickly. Should not be a long process for that. All right, so Jeremy's up next. He has a question. He says, or a comment rather. He says, if I'm wanting to push some vertical growth 2 weeks post aeration, how long should Lebanon Turf 1608 last for me in a Xeon Zoysia before I can apply it again? 150-pound bag will treat my yard 4 times. So what I would say, Jeremy, is as far as an application, the 1608, right after right after aeration is when I would do the application, because that's going to, it's going to fast track that fertilizer into the soil. So you're going to get a better result faster doing it that way versus core aerating, waiting 2 weeks, and then fertilizing. So what I would do is aerate, and literally the day you're done aerating, also put out the fertilizer. That's what I would say. And then you said, how long will it last for you? It depends on the ratio you use. Like with my Zoysia in front, I am feeding it on the same program that I'm using with the back lawn. So once every 4 weeks, once a month is what it gets, about half a pound of nitrogen. just under half a pound of nitrogen from the granular, and that works well for me. So for your lawn, Xeon Zoysia, I don't know what else you're doing to the lawn as far as like any other inputs, like maybe liquid nitrogen or whatnot. But if you're using Humic Max and you're going to apply it the way that I do it, then what you would do is you would apply Humic Max at 3 pounds per thousand. That gets you right around half a pound of nitrogen, and then you would spray liquid fertilizer. We use our Golf Course Lawn 22-3 every 2 weeks, and all of that added up over the course of a month is around 7/10 of a pound of nitrogen. So enough to maintain great color. Actually, I can actually show you. I'm talking, but I can also show. So this lawn is getting, again, half a pound of nitrogen from granular. It's also getting every 2 weeks, like 1/10 of a pound, so not very much, liquid nitrogen and biostimulants. And what you see there is the result. The color's nice and lush. It's not growing too quickly. There's no issues with like thatch buildup, or I'm not creating conditions for disease to be a problem. So if you like that, then you can follow a program like what I'm doing, because Xeon absolutely loves it. It works really well. So hope that helps for you, Jeremy. Again, I would stick to the half a pound per thousand rate on the with the Humic Max 1608. On the bag, there's two different settings. There's two different recommended rates, or two different calibration settings. There's one for half pound of nitrogen, and there's one for 9/10 of a pound of nitrogen. For me, I would have you more towards that half a pound, and then supplement with liquids for best results. All right, next up we have Spencer 71st or Spencerless, I guess. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Can you help me understand soil temps in conjunction with pre-emergent applications? Thanks. Yeah, it's a good question, Spencer. So the idea behind using soil temperature as a guide for your pre-emergent app is really around when the weeds you are looking to control are going to begin germinating. So in the spring, the weeds that we begin, like the warmer season weeds, like particular crabgrass, begin to germinate whenever the average 5-day soil temperatures are in the mid 50s, right? So you'd want to have your pre-emergent applied in the spring before conditions such that the 5-day average is in the mid 50s. So when it comes to pre-emergent for springtime apps, a little bit early, better than a little bit late. For the fall, we're trying to get ahead of cool season weeds like Poa Annua, and whenever soil temperatures are in the low 70s and trending cooler, that is when you want to get your pre-emergent out. So for the spring, before soil temps are in the mid 50s, the average 5 days in the mid 50s. For the fall, before the average soil temps really are in the like mid 60s, but I always tell folks, early low 70s going cooler is when you want to get it done. The rule with pre-emergent, it's kind of in the name. It works best, you get the best results if it's in the soil prior to conditions when the weeds are going to, the seeds are going to start germinating, when they're going to start growing. So a little bit early is better than a little bit late. So for me, if you just want to go this by from like a timing standpoint from the month, at the end of August, end of this month, early September, I will apply my first application of Spectacle Flow. And then I'll do a second application but at the end of November and early December. I have a buddy of mine that has a spray business, like next week. So the third week of August, he's going to start spraying Spectacle. Now he already he's a lot of lawn stuff to cover, but he is also of the opinion, hey, I'm going to start a little bit early and my lawns stay nice and clean versus lawns where you wait till like the end of September to go and spray. Then you're rolling the dice, and there's really not a whole lot of reason to wait. You know what I mean? So end of August, early September, get your pre-emergent out. A bit early is better than a little bit late, especially if you're using something like prodiamine. If you're using Spectacle has a little bit of a reach back component to it. So it's a really good product. So what I'm talking about is this guy here, Spectacle Flow. This is what I use for my fall pre-emergent. An app in September and then again November, December will produce great results. If you're doing prodiamine, same thing. Early September, and then a few months later, November, December, that's going to produce your best results and hold you over until springtime. All right. So hope that helps, sir. Great question. It is the time. Tis the season to start thinking about pre-emergent because I will tell you, it is far, 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 far less expensive to prevent weeds in the first place than spend your time and headache and money, chasing after them with post-emergent herbicides for a lot of the season. So pre-emergent is one of the best tools that you can use just for really minimizing the amount of weed pressure you're going to have on your lawn. So hope that helps, Spencer. Short answer to a long answer to a short question. The too long didn't listen aspect of it is in the spring before soil temps are in the mid 50s, in the fall when they're in the low 70s, trending cooler. That's what I would say. All right. Okay, next up is Jeff. He says, also, I applied Celsius and Certainty last week. When should I apply pre-emergent? So I kind of already answered this question, Jeff. If it were me, and I can only tell you, speak from what I'm going to do, which is the end of this month, early September, is when I'm going to get my pre-emergent out. If you look at our lawn care schedule, let me get this up here for you. You'll see that we, actually, I'll show you how we get to it. So if you go to the golf course lawn store, oh, it's raining. You go to the golf course lawn store, you go to resources, and where is it? It's under lawn care schedule. And then under number 5, monthly application schedule. And you scroll down to right here. You'll see when we get into the month of September, it'll tell you your fall pre-emergent. So for cool season grass, prodiamine. For warm season grass, Spectacle Flow. Got to put some bass in your voice for Spectacle. But yeah, fall, pretty much the beginning of fall is when you'd want to do that. So end of this month, early next month is when I would say get your fall pre-emergent out, Jeff. A bit early is better than late. And for any of you guys that are wondering, where's that thing that he had? I don't want to have to go out and find it myself. The schedule is right here. So you can just go by that. All right. So if that helps. All right. Next up is Fairy Bermuda. Daryl's in the live stream. He says, Fairy Bermuda Lawn says, what's up, Ron and everyone? I'm loving that Anew and Primo Max. I appreciate you, bro. You are very welcome, Daryl. So last year when Real Rollers had the turf park party, I think it was in the fall, Daryl came by and I said, hey man, you should, you got Primo. I know you're liking Primo, but this Anew, mixing some Anew EZ along with it, this other growth regulator along with it. It's money. You would like it. So he tried it out this season, and it sounds like he really is liking the results. So love to hear that, Daryl. Glad to hear that it's working well for you. And keep me posted as far as how the lawn continues to develop. All right. And then Colin says, appreciate it, Ron. He says, I think Truist Park actually went back to Bermuda a couple years or so ago from a video I saw. I think Astros Stadium is the only one that has pass pull now. Cool. Yeah. So I think, what was it? Was it like, is it Platinum? I think it was Platinum is what Truist Park used to have then, but now they're back to Bermuda. I see it. I mean, so they tried out something new, and perhaps Bermuda is a better choice for for Georgia. There's a reason why most of the golf courses, most of the sports fields in Georgia are that more than anything else. Plus Bermuda, honestly, from a wear standpoint, from like a turf grass is going to be used for sports, going to get beat up a lot. It's going to take a lot of wear. Bermuda is really good, man. As long as you're feeding it, it's got plenty of sunlight. It's gonna handle wear, as good as any. It's one of the top ones as far as that goes. So I can see why they would go back to that. All right, next up is Matthew Whitson. He says, have you thought about doing a rye overseed this season? Do you have a preference to which ryegrass you choose? Thanks. No, I haven't. You know why, Matthew? I keep saying I'm going to do it, and a big part of it, why I don't want to oversee my lawn with ryegrass, is a couple of reasons. I'll give you a few reasons, but I'll give you the main ones. One, I don't want to have to mow during the winter months. Like, having a bit of downtime is kind of nice. So I enjoy not having to actually have to go out there and mow the lawn in the winter, because I don't really like cold weather. And then additionally, another reason, this one's probably even more important, is that if you do a ryegrass overseed, it does tend to set back when your Bermuda comes out of dormancy. So even folks that, don't let the ryegrass hang around too long. So the, end of March, early April, like when the Masters is going on, when ryegrass is looking its absolute best, they get out there and they knock it out with some Celsius. Your Bermuda is still tends to lag behind as far as coming out of dormancy versus a lawn that was not overseeded with ryegrass. So for example, my lawn tends to wake up late February, early March. You start to see green coming in. And if I were to overseed with ryegrass, that's really going to get pushed into April. And I'd prefer to not do that. In addition to that fact, I have to also mow, during the winter months. So for that reason, I don't do it. If I were going to do a ryegrass overseed, I mean, there's like Barenbrug makes a good one. I'd probably try out the grass seed that we carry. Now, granted, it's a blend that has some Kentucky bluegrass in it. So probably something like, I'll show you, something like this, the one that my soil makes. Like we get really good feedback from this grass seed. So this is probably the one that if I were going to do one, I would try out. Now, granted, I don't really need the KBG, but this is primarily it's 80% perennial ryegrass. So that's more than likely what I would go with if I were going to do it, but I'm not. So hopefully my reasons make sense to you. I know it sounds like a cop out, but hey, you know, at least I'm being honest. I'm telling you the reasoning for why not. All right, next up, we got Mr. Gavin Moore. He says, hey, Ron, I'm planning to reseed my yard with turf type fescue and Kentucky bluegrass. My question is, how long should I run my irrigation to aeration? I already turf rake, thanks. Oh, how long should you run your irrigation before aeration? I guess you're asking. I would just say run a normal irrigation cycle, Gavin. So if what you're asking is, I'm going to aerate my lawn, I need to make the soil a bit more moist to have the tines penetrate better. How long should I run my irrigation cycle? I would just run a normal cycle. The normal time you would normally run it, I would do that the day before. So the day of, you don't really want to do that because it's going to be a bit too wet. So the day before, if you run an irrigation cycle and then go core aerate, you should get a good result with the tines, penetrating the soil and pulling good cores. So I think that is what you're asking. If it is, I hope that helps. And yeah, keep us posted as far as how the reseed of your lawn goes. With the you going with turf type tall fescue and Kentucky bluegrass. Sounds like a plan, man. All right. Next up, we got Darren Proctor. Says, good evening, everyone. Enjoying the turf talk. Hit the like button. I appreciate that, Darren. Yeah, guys, we have 74 people in the live stream, only 38 likes. So if you guys would not mind hitting that like button ever so gently, it costs absolutely nothing. It's a free way to support the channel. And if you did so, I would really most appreciate it. Yeah, so Darren, man, oh, thanks for I got the sauces you sent me, and you also sent me a this hat, I guess Cosmos barbecue. So I'm sure this is what he's affiliated with, but I thank you so much for the swag, and also for all the sauces because they're really good, man. Literally, I haven't bought like seasoning or barbecue sauce for like years now because once a year I get a care package with stuff that I can't really find locally, and none of it is ever disappointed. So again, thanks so much for that, and I appreciate you coming to hang out in the live stream. All right, Gary Kelly Jr. is up next. He says, Ron, on cool season grass, is it better to mow in the evening or early morning? Got high and dry temps in Chicago burbs. I just don't want to burn up the grass. Mowing is not really going to affect that, Gary. I'd say whenever you have the time to get out there and mow, go out and mow. For me, it's typically mid-morning is when I mow my lawn. So 10 o'clock in the morning, 10, pretty much after the lawn is dried is when I will go out and mow. So whether you want to mow in the morning or want to mow in the evening, either one really doesn't matter whenever it's convenient for you. The thing that's really going to, cause the lawn to suffer in drier temperatures is not watering it enough. If you're pushing a lot of growth with fertilizer, that can also be a stressor to a cool season lawn in the summer. But mowing, if your equipment is nice and sharp, you have a good irrigation schedule to where you're keeping the soil hydrated, I'd say just mow whenever it's convenient for you. Like there's not a whole lot in it as far as time of day making a huge difference in that regard. All right. So good question. Definitely get out there. Just the biggest thing is just mow your lawn, mow your grass. That's probably the most important thing. Don't not mow your grass. Okay, and you said I normally cut at 4 inches in the summer. Yeah, man. Whenever it's convenient for you, just get out there and go do it. If you want to go out and mow midday, just make sure your equipment is sharp. That's probably the biggest, more than the time of day. That is going to have a larger bearing on the quality of the grass than the time of when you mow it. Make sure your equipment is sharp. All right, Helios Caesar says, good evening, Ron. Hope all is well. When transferring the good plugs to the areas that need it, do I need to put down sand? No, you don't need to put down sand. So you should be able to remove a plug like the bare dirt from the area you want to fill in, take a plug from the part of the lawn that's doing well. It's going to have like, some dirt along with it. And you just take that out and just like insert the peg into the hole. So like literally it's all you would do. There's no need to add sand or anything else like that. You should be able to just insert the plug you pulled right into the area that you're trying to get to fill in. All right. No need for sand. All right, B.S. Smith is up next. You know what, Helly, that's actually a good question. I'm sure I was going to have it, so we'll save that for other folks. How about that, right? You get to see your name in lights at some point once we get around to editing all these. All right, next up is B.S. Smith. He says, weather up here in Maryland is hot, 80s to 90s. It's not that bad. He says, but it could drop really quick. Is a verticut in the cards for this year? Yeah, I mean, you can still verticut, just don't be too aggressive with it, is what I would tell you, B.S. Smith. With you having a cool season lawn, I believe you're in Maryland, I'm guessing. Then, oh no, you don't have a cool season lawn. I think you are real mowing. At any rate, as long as you're not being aggressive with it, it's going to be fine. Don't overdo it. As long as you're lightly verticutting, that should be absolutely fine. All right. Hugh Janus is up next. He says, if I do split applications of Spectacle Flow, what timelines do you suggest? Southwest Kansas, just making sure, because that second app might be in the 40s temps. Yeah, so what I would say is, Hugh, for Georgia, what I would do is the end of this month, so late August, early September, and then my second app, because we have relatively mild winters here, is going to be in the end of November, early December. For your case, being in Kansas, you actually do get snow and you may get a frost. I'd say 4 weeks or so before when you expect your first frost is when you'd want to get your second app out. So that it's probably going to be in the November timeframe, I'd imagine. But yeah, you doing 2 apps I find works well. I've done it both ways. I've done it where I've done a single app that has worked, that's performed well. I've done a single app that's also performed well, but there's no reason, if you can do a split app and get that extended coverage, then I would lean towards that. Especially someone like you, given that you're in Kansas, your growing season probably is not going to start until March, maybe late March. So getting the extended coverage from a later app in the fall is more important to you than it would be even for someone like me, where I can put out pre-emergent again in like February because the lawn's going to start growing again in February. You know what I mean? So in your case, that second app a few weeks before when you expect it, to snow to be on the ground is a good idea. It's going to help extend that coverage out and will reduce the amount of Poa Annua you're going to have to fight, come springtime. So hope that helps, sir. Again, September, December is when I do it. In your case, I'd say September, and then a few weeks prior to whenever you're expecting your first frost is when I would get the second app out. All right, Cloud9 Card Collections. It's kind of a cool name. He says, Ron, I love your content. I appreciate that, man. It says, I have a fall renovation. I'm doing perennial ryegrass in Michigan. What's your go-to option to kill off crabgrasses and a nasty mix of weeds to get a heavy overseed in this season? Okay, so for crabgrass, I'll show you Cloud9 Card Collections. Kind of a cool name. So if you go to the golf course lawn store, go to shop, and then go to weed killer. Outside of glyphosate, which is non-selective, probably the best option for controlling crabgrass in a lawn that's not St. Augustine and not Centipede is Drive. It's a product with chloride in it. So Drive Accelerate, this is what I would go with. If you want to get the absolute best results, you can spray Drive by itself, but it really works better if you use either a methylated seed oil with it or a non-ionic surfactant. We offer a non-ionic surfactant, so you can go with a kit like this that has Drive, the surfactant, the dye, and that, as far as your control for crabgrass, is going to perform really well. Now, for controlling a blend of weeds, I'd probably just put you in a 3-way. So if we go back to the weed killer section, actually, no, let me send this to you first. So you have, let me send you, so you're good to go. Let me make sure you got this first. So I'll save this, send that to you. And then for broadleaf control, you could just go with like a 3-way. So something like Triad, like that guy here, like this, all right? So I'll send this to you, Cloud9 collection. So that's thing 1. And then this is thing 2. And what I would tell you is that if you get the kit, then you only need to get one of the kits. In other words, if you have surfactant and dye, don't get like the broadleaf, because we also offer a broadleaf kit as well. So don't go do this. Like if you get the kit that has the surfactant and dye, when you get the drive accelerate, just get the herbicide, because you've already got the other stuff that you need. All right, so don't like double up on it. There's no reason to do that. But yeah, between those two though, that will control the crabgrass. It's going to control a blend of weeds that you have in your lawn, and should put you in a pretty good spot to get ready to do your overseed this fall. That's what I would do if I were you. If I were looking to clean up, if I were looking to selectively control weeds in a lawn that I'm going to overseed later on this year. All right, so hope that helps. Cloud9 card collections. Keep us posted as far as how it goes. Take pictures if you want to send pictures to us later on in the season as you get done with your renovation or you're in process of your renovation. Feel free to do so. We'll share them on the show. You know, folks like to see what other folks are up to. I like to see what other folks are up to. All right. Okay. Next up, we got Henry. Let's see here. Henry Thieling. He says, I schedule my night to be here for the live chat. Awesome, man. That's pretty cool. Like you went fishing. Like you're a bass guy, possibly. Thanks. I appreciate that, Henry. Hopefully we don't disappoint. And if we can help with anything, let us know. And next up, John Williams says, hey, Ron, what say you? Oh boy, here we go. Is there any validity to raising a height of cut when going into the fall? Now, there's different strands of thought on this, John. Some folks say if you raise the height of cut a little bit, it does help with as like almost like insulation of the lawn, helps the roots not be exposed to temperatures quite as cold if you raise that height of cut a little bit. I've tested it in my lawn. I've done. So I'll tell you what I've done. I've had the lawn go up to as much as an inch in years past, not recently, like prior to 2020. I've had the lawn at 3/4 of an inch going into the fall. And then for 1 year, when I maintained the lawn at 1/2 inch or just under 1/2 inch all season long, I went into the fall also at that, just under 1/2 inch. And in all three cases, all situations, when the lawn woke up in the spring, it was just fine. I didn't have any damage. And we did have a couple of days where we had snow on the ground, so it did get pretty cold, but there wasn't really any damage anywhere between an inch and under 1/2 inch on my lawn. With having said that, in Georgia, we have relatively mild winter. So even if you have snow, it only sticks around for a couple of days. If you have cold weather, it typically isn't weeks and weeks and weeks on end. So in my case, speaking from experience, like anywhere between an inch to 1/2 inch didn't really make a difference to me. What it does do is whenever you get to springtime, if you raise the height of cut up in the fall, you do have more work that you have to take care of in the spring. Like there's more material to have to scalp and get out of the lawn from that standpoint. But from a standpoint of, Bermuda, like preventing winter damage or anything like that, I've not seen any real benefits for drastically raising the height of cut. Again, in my case, it's gone up to an inch and it didn't make a big difference. I'm not going to let my lawn grow much taller than that. So hope that helps, sir. I would say just leave it where it is. My lawn this fall, when it goes into dormancy, will be at 3/4 of an inch, and it'll be there until next year when I take it down to like 5/8, and I'll run it at 5/8 until, I don't know, probably June again, and then let it go to 3/4 of an inch. All right. So hope that helps, John. Great question. And again, if you want to let it get a little bit taller, you can, but again, not strictly necessary. From what I have, I've personally, my lived experience shows that not to be as big a deal for a warm season lawn, a warm season grass like Bermuda. On the topic of John did get did a renovation here recently. He's in Savannah, I believe. And you're in Savannah, dude. So yeah, in your case, I would not raise the height of cut. I believe you're in Savannah, Georgia, what you told me. And you did a celebration renovation, Celebration Bermuda. So one of my favorite types of Bermuda. So right now he's got it running, I think he told me 1.5 inches is where he's at. So there is picture 1 of the celebration. There is picture 2 of the celebration. And I think that's all you sent me. There may have been a third one, but I don't think so, John. So I got these 2 pics of your lawn. If it were me, I would not raise the height of cut on that. Like you're already at 1.5 inches. There's no reason to go any taller than that, especially you're in Savannah. You're near the coast, near the ocean. It's not gonna, like, it gets colder for me longer being inland, like where I am in Georgia, than where you are. So in your case, I absolutely wouldn't do it. So hope that helps, sir. I'd say leave your lawn where it is. And, if it's not if you're not scalping, which I know you're saying you're keeping it at 1.5 inches because it's a new installation, you haven't top dressed it yet, and then your plan is to go lower next year, I'd say leave it there where you're at now, and that's going to create less work for you in the spring when you have to start bringing the height of cut down, in which case you're going to have to take all that material out. So that is what I would tell you. Thank you so much for the Cash App. I really do appreciate it. I see you just sent that to me, so thank you for that. I really do appreciate that. Let me get you up here, put some respect on your name as a show sponsor. So see, John Williams. All right, there we go. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. Thank you so much, John. Right down there. Appreciate it, man. So yeah, don't create a bunch of work for yourself. Leave it at 1.5 inches is what I would tell you. Okay. DJ Jim Sounds, kind of a cool name also, says, okay, it says, hey, Ron, can I mix the Miramichi pests and Celsius Uncertainty in my 4-gallon backpack sprayer at the same time? Also, we've had lots of rains causing weeds and mushrooms. Can I add a prodiamine to the mix? That is a combination I've not done, DJ Jam Sounds. I've not sprayed the pest control along with herbicides. I have sprayed it before along with fertilizer, like with the Miramichi Green, like their other biostimulants, like the Release 901C and NutriCup. I've done that before, but I've not done it with herbicides. If it were me, I'd be inclined to say no. I'd say spray it separately. I say spray it separately if you want to do that. Now, as far as something you can do together, if you want to do Celsius Uncertainty and also put some pre-emergent in the tank, some prodiamine, like that would be fine. Like you absolutely could do that. The only thing I would advise is that if you're going to mix post-emergent and pre-emergent herbicides and spray them all at the same time, I would personally leave the surfactant out. So for best results with Celsius Uncertainty, you really want to use a spreader sticker, right? Something like this. But if you're mixing pre-emergent with it, the goal for the pre-emergent is to get in the soil. You don't really want to do anything that's going to hamper that. So I would not use surfactant in the tank if you're mixing prodiamine along with Celsius Uncertainty. You'll still get a good result if you don't use surfactant. The only thing you have to be more mindful of is if you can find a period of time when you're not going to get like rain that same day, that's what you're going to want to do. You want to have a day or a couple of days of dry weather where there's absolutely not going to be any rain if you're not using surfactant, whereas if you are using surfactant, it becomes less critical. So hope that helps, sir. I tell you again, the pest control I would spray separately, and then Celsius Uncertainty along with the prodiamine, that would be absolutely fine. You could do all that together. As far as, see all the rain causing weeds and mushrooms, sure. But yeah, Celsius Uncertainty are the way to clean that up. Or you could do Celsius Uncertainty by themselves with surfactant and then knock out the weeds, get that under control because we're still like mid-August. And then come the end of August, you could just spray your pre-emergent. That would be another option as well too. So lots of different ways to solve that problem. If you're going to really wait until another 2 weeks to take care of the weeds, then yeah, you can mix pre-emergent with it. I personally would not do that. If for me, I'd go and knock out the weeds now, spray your Celsius Certainty surfactant, like do it the right way now, and then a couple of weeks from now, go back out there and spray apply your pre-emergent. That is how I would go about it. But maybe you're a busy guy. Maybe you don't have the time to be out there in the lawn all over and over and over and over again. So big thing is apply your pre-emergent. Whether you do it by itself or you apply it with Celsius Uncertainty is to get it out. Don't not do that. That's what I'm trying to tell you. All right. Okay. Next up, we got Joe Cox. He says, "Good evening, Ron. Do you know anything about Chili Verde Bermuda grass seeds? Lowe's has a bunch of it on clearance." I don't, but given that it's a Bermuda grass seed, more than likely, and it's at a big box store, more than likely it's going to be improved common Bermuda. So for me, I'd say no. I mean, if you're going to get Bermuda grass seed, like get a quality Bermuda grass seed, get like Yukon, Rio, like Monaco, like one of the nicer cultivars. I mean, this one might be fine too, but how can I say this? A lot of the options you'll find at the big box stores are not necessarily catered to providing necessarily the absolute best quality option. Like you don't typically see like a lot of like higher end seed manufacturers sold at the big box stores because they're just more pricey. But I'd say like most things in life, you get what you pay for, right? So if you're going to go out and you're going to go and do a renovation, which is kind of a big deal, and you're going to go and use grass seed as a way to establish your lawn, then I would get the best possible quality grass seed to do that. If you're really going to go the grass seed route, I would try and push you again towards just using sod, Tiff Tough, Tahoma 31, 419. Any of those, in my opinion, is a better way to go for most people than using grass seed. But if you are going to go grass seed, I would get a high quality grass seed. I would not get something like a shade blend from the big box stores where they got Bermuda grass seed and Lord knows what else in there to try and convince you that they've somehow solved the impossible of getting Bermuda grass to grow in shaded areas of a lawn. Okay, so I would not, Joe, because it's also a big problem. You know what I mean? Like if you said, hey, I found, I don't know, some herbicide that I'm trying to use. I want to go and control this weed in my lawn, right? Like that is a relatively low risk decision to make because either it's going to work or it's not going to work. Not that huge of a deal if it's not as effective. Grass seed is kind of a big deal because once you put it in, it's there, and getting rid of it is kind of a pain, especially Bermuda grass, right? So I would go for quality grass seed. In other words, cheap is not the price you pay is not the first thing you should consider when it comes to grass seed choice. That should not be the primary concern when you're choosing grass seed, in my opinion. So. All right. Next up is Jimmy Miller. He says, "Someone please shoot me and shoot me now. I'm backlighting my true cut at the moment." Yeah, I feel I've done that one time only, and it's being a real. You know what? Around this time, is it normal for my blades to be so dull so fast? Depends, Jimmy. I mean, with my Greensmaster this season, I've been backlapping it more frequently than I've had to in past seasons, mainly because I've top dressed the front lawn a couple of times. So there's not a lot of sand, but there's still a little bit of sand here and there. And that has caused me to have to backlap, once every 4 to 6 weeks. With your true cut, depending what you're running over, if you're mowing stuff other than grass, if you're scalping some areas, if you top dress the lawn so there's some sand in the lawn, all those things will add up and will cause the mower to not hold an edge for quite as long. So if it were me, so in other words, it's not what you're experiencing is not it's not irregular. It's something you could absolutely happen. So sorry you're dealing with that, but this is such as life. This is all part of living that stripe action life. You know what I mean? All right. Next up, we see Tom. Tom, looks like I'm not sure if you're in the live stream, Tom. It looks like you just sent me an email, but whatever video you sent, I can't. It's not. You need to make it share to open to the world because I can't access it. Okay, next up is Jeremy. He says, just placed an order for the 1608. Looking forward to applying it. Been using liquids all year because I got my Yard Mastery sprayer and I want to use it a ton. I said, use in charge, post aeration. So you got a new toy. You just want to run it hard, right? I get it. I understand. I'm also guilty. I too am guilty of that at times. But yeah, I think you'll really enjoy the 1608. Again, it's what I run on my lawn, and I think you will enjoy that quite a bit. All right, on the topic, Jimmy, I know you had just gotten through, you're talking about True Cut, but if you guys want to see something really cool, a viewer, Oliver, I'm not sure if Oliver is here in the live stream, but if not, she'll see this afterwards. So Oliver got some new equipment. He had a Greensmaster 1600, and he's like, it was time for an upgrade. And I'm like, upgrade? Say less. Tell me, how do you upgrade from a 1600? Well, and I gotta warn you, I'm going to show some pictures here. Before I show the pictures, any of you that are on the fence about buying a real mower, you need to start saying, I don't need it. I don't need it. It's nice, but I don't need it. You need to start saying that now because I'm going to put these pictures up on the screen and you're going to definitely have some envy because I absolutely did when I saw these. All right, so now that I've played up a bunch, here is his new hardware. Let me get this off here so you guys can really appreciate that. Can you just take a moment? Just take a moment to appreciate the absolute gorgeousness of that piece of equipment. You know what I mean? I'm not one to think that equipment can be sexy, but you gotta admit, man. The picture, the way he's got it posed, it is a thing of beauty. And he also gave me a rundown on it. So he says, not only did he send the picture, he gave me a rundown as far as why he got it. Title of the email: Rom, my new whip, which it's pretty baller. He got rid of the 1600 and he got the 1026, which is what this is, the GM 1026, 26-inch cutting width, 11 blade reel, removable cutting head units. So that means you can pull the cutting head out. You can take that out and get that sharper without having to take the whole mower in, which is kind of nice, really convenient. Adjustable clip rate, onboard back lapping. And this is the one thing I did not know this mower did, which is kind of cool. It's got two different height of cut settings, or different height of settings for the rear drum to switch between greens height or tee box height. So it's kind of cool. You can kind of set the mower, you can set a lower height of cut, and then you can adjust the rear drum, which is a bit faster, to go up to a higher height of cut. So it's kind of cool. You kind of quickly switch between two different heights of cuts, which is pretty sweet. So there's picture one of it. And, you know, it's just posing, but we got another picture. We can take a look at it in action. You can see the handiwork of the mower. I'd say it cuts pretty well. And then one more. You got the headlight option too, man. It looks sweet, man. You got lights, and you're absolutely putting it to work. It is absolutely gorgeous piece of equipment. Well done, sir. We got to clap it up for you. Very, very, very nice. Congrats on the new hardware. Congrats on the new hardware. I don't need it. I don't need one. I mean, maybe next year. Maybe next year, we'll see. Because, I mean, I've had my 1600 for a number of years now. The onboard backlapping is pretty sweet, and the two different heights of cut that are easily accessible without having to break out like the AccuGauge, also kind of nice. What to see. Thanks so much for sending the picture in, Oliver. Again, I'm absolutely envious of your hardware. It is a thing of beauty. Treat it well, keep it sharp, mow a lot of grass with it. All right, next up is Serge. He says, actually, let me get John back up here. Real quick. He says, hey, Ron, hope all is well. I'm getting weeds coming up on my lawn, and the temps are in the low hundreds. Not great. Live with them until temps go down, or is there something that I can apply that won't hurt my Bermuda? What I would say is this. I mean, if you want to wait till temperatures are cooler, that's also an option. If you are going to spray herbicides, and you didn't tell me exactly what kind of weeds you have, but I'm assuming that it's like a bunch of broadleaf weeds. If you are going to do that, what I would tell you to use is a herbicide called Celsius. So Celsius is a great option, mainly because as far as temperature restrictions, there aren't really any with the product. I've sprayed Celsius in the low to mid 90s on my lawn in the month of July 3 years ago when I made the video on it, and didn't have any discoloration. And I also used surfactant along with it. So normally Celsius by itself, you're highly unlikely to get any kind of discoloration. If you were, you get into trouble is if you get a little bit too heavy-handed with the surfactant, right? So when I did it in 2022 or whenever the video was done, I did use surfactant along with it, and I didn't get any discoloration. With you being in the hundreds, you might get some if you decide to opt to use some spreader sticker along with it. But the big thing is of the options of herbicides that provide excellent weed control, broadleaf control in a warm season lawn, it, in my opinion, doesn't really get much better than Celsius. And as far as one you could use, in other words, if somebody came to me and said, hey, Ron, I'm going to control weeds in my lawn where I live in the country, it's always in the hundreds or it's in the hundreds the middle part of the day, I really want to take care of these weeds, I'm going to reach for a bottle of Celsius. And I'll say, hey, listen, you may get some mild discoloration, probably unlikely, but you may get some. This is really as good as it's going to get as far as controlling the weeds while not damaging your lawn. And really any discoloration you get is going to be temporary. You know, a week, maybe two, it'll grow through it and you won't be able to see any difference. So it'll be just fine. So what I tell you again, Serge, if you go to the golf course lawn store, go to shop and then weed killer, what you're going to want is this guy right here, Celsius. You can get the individual packet or you can get the 10-ounce bottle. Just depends on how large of an area that you're treating. And then if you decide to get the surfactant, we have a kit for both options that includes the dye and the spreader sticker. So those are both options that will work well for you. All right. So hope that helps. Again, if you need anything else, let me know, and I'll send you the pictures. I'll send you where you can get that here in the chat. All right. So at Serge. There you go. That's what I would roll with. And if you had sedges, you could use Certainty. So I didn't talk about Certainty, but that would be your option for sedge control in a warm season lawn. All right. So there you go. All right. Next up, We have John Williams. Hang on. All right. Next up, we have John Williams. We already did this. Actually, he says, Savannah, Celebration, Bermuda. Did you get my pics? I did. I just showed him, John. Everyone just saw him. My yard is shaping up nicely. Should I apply prodiamine or wait a full year? My yard is about 3 months old. I would apply prodiamine. I would absolutely use pre-emergent. I would not do that. I would absolutely make sure you get pre-emergent on your lawn. Absolutely. And he said, working on my 4th mole, the others got, and for my research, they're in low number packs, but man, these suckers cause some damage. They do. They can mess up a lawn pretty quickly, but you're on your way. If you got like the, if you have the scissors traps, then that's the way I would go. All right. So, okay. Next up is Colin C. Pims. He says, yes, I think it was Platinum TE. I agree with your points for sure too. As someone who has worked on Bermuda too, I can agree that it deals with abuse/damage much better than Paspalum. Yeah, I mean, for a lawn that's going to take a lot of wear, tough to beat Bermuda grass. Hinkles Pro Golf's up next. He says, happy Friday, all. Thanks for the Turf Talk, Ron. You're very welcome, Hinkles Pro. Thanks for coming by to say hello. He says, DJ Kirkland says, hey, Ron, do you still recommend the Yard Mastery Backpack Sprayer using a manual one and want to upgrade? So, yes, I still recommend it. Reason being is that it comes with pretty much everything you need to be able to spray products for the soil and products for foliar uptake on your lawn. So you get an assortment of spray nozzles. So it doesn't come with 2 of these. It comes with the nozzles, but just only one of the adapters. So it comes with this spray nozzle, which is for soil-based applications like your fertilizer, with regulator, etc. And it also comes with the flood jet tip, which is good for your insecticide, fungicide, pre-emergent. So for that reason, meaning you buy it once, buy once, cry once, and it has everything you need to be able to spray pretty much anything you want on your lawn, is why I like it. And it's not overly complicated. Like there are other manufacturers, other sprayers are out there that are also quite nice too. It comes with only two sprayer settings, like a high and a low. Mine lives on the low, so having like 4, 5, 6 position switches sounds kind of cool, but realistically, you're gonna calibrate your sprayer normally on one of the lower settings and just leave it there. So having all the additional ones, while the novelty sounds cool, in practice, you're really not going to make use of them. So to answer your question, yes, still recommend it. That's why we still carry it. It's a great sprayer. It's one I'd highly recommend. All right. Next up, we have Michael Robdello. Robdello. He says, San Antonio, Texas here. I have Bermuda grass above 95 degrees daily, off and on rain. Well, at least you're getting rain. That's something. I water daily. Can I still use, I think you meant the 12-0-24, the 24-0-12 fert along with PGR? Yes, you can. You can still use, because it's a relatively lower nitrogen. I think you're talking about our 12-0-24. I think you just got the numbers backwards. So yes, if that's the case, where you're talking about this fertilizer, which is where is it? This guy here, which is a 12% nitrogen, 24% potassium fert. If you're talking about this one, then yes, I would be fine with that. If you truly are talking about a 24% nitrogen fertilizer, then I wouldn't in the middle of summer. I mean, that's pushing a lot of growth in my opinion. Personally would not do that. I mean, you can back the rate down and get it to be reasonable, but I'd say no. A 12-0-24 is where I would go versus a higher nitrogen, a higher analysis of fert. But yeah, PGR and a 12-0-24, be just fine, Michael. Okay, Frank V is up next. He says, hey, Ron, I applied Celsius at the high rate, 0.13 ounces per 1,000 in June. I need to apply again, but I guess I hit that yearly max. Any suggestions on what to rotate to? I have Tribute Total, but waiting to use it. What are you trying to control, Frank? That would be the question that I would ask you. I mean, you could go to like a 3-way. Tribute Total also is a great product, but I mean, it'd be interesting to know what you're trying to control that Celsius, especially at the high rate, didn't knock out. But yeah, I'd say a 3-way is what I would tell you to look at. Tribute Total, if it's labeled to control what you're after, would also be a good option. It's kind of a sledgehammer approach to take going from Celsius, but yeah, if Celsius is not knocking out whatever you're trying to control, then Tribute should get it. I mean, there's not a whole lot that I'm trying to think of what Celsius would control that Tribute wouldn't. and not a whole lot comes to mind. Okay, True Gator fan comes up next. He says, Ron, what are your thoughts on split apps of prodiamine and dimension in the fall and the same in the spring? So you're talking about like prodiamine prodiamine in September and then dimension in like December and do the same thing in the springtime? I've never done that. I mean, I guess you could. I normally pick one pre-emergent and just use that one a couple times during the fall or the spring, but I guess there's nothing really preventing you from doing that. If you wanted to do prodiamine in September and then switch to dimension for your second app later on in the fall, I don't see any reason why that would not work. It's just not something I've ever really done. I've normally had a concoction, like a blend that I've started with for that particular season, and I've just used that. So when I've used like Coastal, which is prodiamine, simazine, and imazaquin, like I just use that in the fall. I didn't use that and then also go spray like Spectacle in addition to it. I just picked one and just did that. So, but again, there's nothing really that should prevent what you're doing from working, is what I would tell you. Just make sure that you are leaving enough on your annual allocation, like your annual limits, to where you still can spray prodiamine again in the spring and dimension again in the later spring, I guess, if that's what you're going for. All right. And you said, would applying Celsius to the mid-rate hurt my Bermuda lawn? Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely to hurt your Bermuda lawn. Is in your targeting doveweed and sedges. Yeah, so for doveweed, it'll take a couple rounds of Celsius to do that. For sedge control, I would use Certainty. Certainty is what I would go with. Certainty is really the product to go with for sedge control. And then Celsius will control doveweed. You just have to apply more than once to get control of it. All right. Okay, and you said you have common Bermuda. Doesn't change my answer, True Gator fan. I'd still say you can do just prodiamine, a split app in September, another one in December, or you can go prodiamine dimension if you want, and then prodiamine dimension again if you want. It's up to you. I've never done that, but I can't see any reason why it wouldn't work. And you said no Zoysia, not cool season. Okay, cool. No worries. B Smith. I don't think that really changes the answer I gave you. All right, next up we have John Williams. He says, when should I do my next soil test? I have 3 on the shelf ready to rock and roll. So I would tell you is do one in the spring, one in the fall. The one in the fall is useful from the standpoint of measuring how well your nutrient program throughout the growing season worked, and also lets you know where your soil pH is going into the fall. So if you need to do some kind of adjustment, maybe a lime application to raise your soil pH, the fall soil test is going to tell you that. So that's really a lot of the benefits of doing one, September, October timeframe. So I'd say wait till next month, John, and get it done. Not going to hurt anything at all. All right. It's good. It's a good question. All right. Next up, we have Nick Wren. Let me see here. Make sure I got you covered, John. All right. Nick Wren, he says, happy Friday, Ron. It's hard to find a place that I can sharpen my manual reel mower in my area. Do you have an opinion on a handheld reel sharpeners like the brand American Lawnmower Co? I don't. I've not used any of them to be able to tell you how well they work. So I don't want to really recommend something I'm like, especially a piece of equipment, something like that's going to use to sharpen your mower without knowing how well it works. I'd say look at the reviews. If the reviews are overwhelmingly positive, or what people are saying on maybe Reddit about it or whatever, maybe look at that and just go from there. Or if you can reach out to the manufacturer, reach out to the people that sell it and ask them, hey, I have, a Scotch reel mower or whatever you happen to have. Says, are there any tips or tricks for getting a good result with using this to sharpen my mower? That's one of the things I would do in addition to looking at the reviews. But I can't speak from personal experience because I've never used one of those on my manual reel mower many, many years ago when I had one. All right. And then DJ Jim Sound says, skipped me. I don't think I did. Did I? Pretty sure I got you. It just took a while to get to you, man. I do them in order. So I'm pretty sure I didn't skip you because I remember answering your question. I did answer your question. Okay. Next up is Gary Kellett Jr. Uh-oh. He says, I did it again. My wife is a teacher and back to work. I was in away this week for work, which I ordered a new flow zone sprayer, which wasn't supposed to be delivered until next week. Well, it came early. Yep. I guess, man. He says, it was sitting on the workbench when I got home. So she knows. I mean, it wasn't like, so she said, oh, well, there's Gary getting some new equipment for his lawn hobby. And she put it on the bench for you. So cool. That's awesome, man. Glad that you got some new equipment. We'll clap it up for you. Congratulations. I like it. I like it. And then next up, the Trilla from Manila is in the live stream. He says, hey, Ron, happy Friday, everyone. The Zoysia is looking amazing. I believe you not only set the standards for the neighborhood, but also the nearest golf courses. Well, man, I spend a lot of time on my lawn. So it's, you know, most golf courses have way more budget than I do to be able to work on the course. So a lot of the courses in this area are actually pretty nice. So, but I appreciate the kind words. I appreciate the kind words about the lawn. It's been a lot of work. I am enjoying it. I am enjoying Zoysia more than I thought I would. A lot of people really go on and on about how awesome Zoysia is. And now that I've had some for 4 months, I completely get what all the fuss is about. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. It grows really slowly. If you top dress it and you got a few lower spots and take some more sand, be patient. But outside of the slower growth, it's pretty good stuff. He says, Carl Carlstone says, I'm looking at getting a 4-gallon backpack sprayer for next year. Is the Yard Mastery still your favorite? Yeah, that one is the one I would go with. That one, or I mean, you can do that one. You can do a Flow Zone. Either one of those are both good. The Yard Mastery, in my opinion, is just simpler. You just have a 2-position switch, and it comes with all the spray tips that you need. So for that reason, I really like it. So it's like a one and done. You get it. You have everything you need. But there's a lot of other good manufacturers. But I'd say that one or the Flow Zone are the ones that I would go with. When it comes to a sprayer, it is very much the Indian, not the Arrow, meaning you can go out and you can get a sprayer that costs a lot less. It may not last as long, it may not be as consistent. You may have other issues with it as far as like quality, but if it's properly calibrated, your grass doesn't really know if it's being sprayed with like a $150 sprayer or a $350 sprayer, right? The big thing you're going to run into, the difference between like a less expensive sprayer and a more expensive one, as you spend more money, like most things in life, the build quality tends to be better, and you just tend to have less headaches and less problems with it. So just really determine what's best for you, calibrate it, and go have fun. All right. And then Rockfish Steve says, I spray Celsius Uncertainty at high rate. Not a good idea when hot. I got lots of yellowing. How hot is hot in your case, Rockfish Steve? So I've used that combination with surfactant when temps were in the low to mid 90s, and I didn't really get any discoloration. So I'd say how much surfactant you use absolutely matters. How you spray also matters. So if you got like, you know, take the soil test kit, say this is a bunch of weeds in your lawn, and if you go over back and forth over a couple of times, so you're kind of over applying, not kind of, you are over applying the herbicide, that can cause discoloration or increase the likelihood of discoloration. You know, if how you mix it, if you mix a little bit hot, that can also cause discoloration. But I mean, from my testing, even into the 90s, I have not had any problems with it. You know, case in point, like we've had temps in the 90s here in Georgia last month and some of this month. And I've had some spurge breakthrough in the mulch beds and also in the Zoysia. And I've sprayed that with certainty, no issues. Like there's not been any discoloration, no problems at all with it. So I'd say it's obviously the rate that you use is important and how you spray is also important. But I mean, I've put Celsius on, you know, relatively young lawns, 4 months old, and the spurge is dead and the Zoysia tolerates it just fine. And you could argue that Zoysia is more sensitive than Bermuda grass. Okay, next up is Henry Thielings. His best grass for shaded backyard. We play soccer on heavily. Tipped up Bermuda right now. There's not really one, Henry. I mean, the problem is this, right? So what you have, the Tiff Top Bermuda, is a great high wear grass, but it needs a lot of sunlight to be able to recover from the wear of playing, you know, soccer on it regularly. Like there's not really any grass that's going to tolerate that well. You can do, I mean, yeah, there's not from Bermuda. What you have is really the right grass. You just have to have more sunlight on it. And there's nothing that I'm going to tell you to switch to. Like Zoysia is not going to tolerate the wear like Bermuda will. Fescue, probably not the best surface for you to play soccer with. You have to mow it too tall. It's not going to be as good. So Bermuda is really what you want to use. I'd say just got to do something about sunlight or reduce the amount of wear. There's not really a free lunch. Like the one thing you cannot have with Bermuda grass is a lot of shade. Any appreciable amount of shade paired, especially with what you're doing with like a lot of wear, is just you're going to have bare spots in your lawn that are just, it's going to take a long time for it to recover from, if at all, if at all. So sorry I don't have a better answer for you, but at least that saves you from having to spend a bunch of time, money, and frustration chasing something that is really not going to be easily solvable. You got to get sunlight on it if you want it to do well. And he said, I'm in Charleston, South Carolina, Mount Pleasant. Cool. Cool. Answer still stands. Still got to have plenty of sunlight for Bermuda to do well. Even in South Carolina, it doesn't do well with shade. It definitely doesn't do well with shade if you're beating on it. All right. Sheed says, hey, Ron, I've got a shaded area on my lawn. I tried everything. And as you know, Bermuda will not establish. Would you consider a different type of grass to fill in those areas? Depends on how much shade you're dealing with. I mean, you could go to Zoysia. It requires less sunlight than Bermuda to do well. If you're talking about an area that is like a lot of shade, then that's where you could get into something like a fescue. Like that would do better. Like if you go to some of the older neighborhoods in Atlanta, if you go to like Vinings area or Buckhead or just downtown, like some of the older neighborhoods with big trees in the yards, a lot of those lawns are fescue. They're not Bermuda because you have these big trees and there's no way Bermuda would do well there, but the fescue does great in those lawns. So without knowing how much shade, it's difficult to make a recommendation. But if you are saying you've got so much shade that you can't correct that Bermuda is not growing there, then if you want to keep a warm season grass, you could go to Zoysia. It still needs sunlight, but it needs less than Bermuda. And then the next step down, I'd say, would be a fescue, because really Bermuda, fescue, and Zoysia are really the grasses that are going to do well in this part of the country. You know, in other words, wherever you happen to live is where Bermuda is growing. So it's not like I'm going to tell you to go from Bermuda to like ryegrass or Kentucky bluegrass. Likely you're living somewhere where summer temps are just going to kill those grasses. So look into Zoysia or potentially a tall fescue is what I would tell you. All right, Sheed. So hope that helps. Yeah, Bermuda and shade, like ice cream and mayonnaise. They just don't go together. Just do not. Okay, next up is Yamaha Gold. He says, say, Ron, congrats on successfully completing a Bermuda to Zoysia renovation, which brought another layer of content to the channel. I'm looking forward to seeing your Bermuda to annual/perennial ryegrass. You're going to be waiting a long time. You're going to be waiting a long time. You know what? Here's what could happen is I could just do the vanity strip with ryegrass. Like that could be a thing. Because that's not going to be that much headache to mow, and it would look it'd be kind of weird. It'd be kind of fun. You guys would get a kick out of it, right? Like my lawn's dormant, Alex's lawn is dormant. You got just this strip of grass that's green. That could be kind of funny, right? That could happen. The entire lawn getting overseeded, not going to happen. So you said ryegrass for the fall, winter, and then transitioning back to Bermuda for the spring, summer. Hashtag never say never. I'm not going to say never. Just highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. Like highly unlikely. Like, yeah, just probably not gonna. I would not hold out for that. I would not wait for that to happen anytime soon, so I'm telling you, Yamaha Gold. All right. Let's see here. Houselonian says, how can you get your yard like that? I guess you're talking about like Oliver's lawn or my Xeon Zoysia. The most important thing to getting a lawn that looks like this, or a lawn that looks like that, or a lawn that looks like, let me see if I got Collins lawn, I can show that one off too, or a lawn that looks like that, is consistency. Probably more than anything else, you got to be consistent. So a good nutrient program, important, but really the thing that's going to give the lawn a manicured look is mowing. Like what Oliver is showing in this picture right here, like the mower is the thing that brings it all together. Yes, fertilizer, super important. A good nutrient program, super important. It helps fuel the soil, that helps create grass that looks like that, creates a color that looks like that. But the thing that really makes it look incredible, spectacular, gives that manicured look that looks like a golf course, is the mowing, is the regular mowing. All right, so that's what I would tell you, Hustlonian. Get a mower. and keep it sharp and use it regularly. That's going to, if you just do nothing but that, you're going to have a really good result as far as your lawn. It's going to look better than a lawn that just gets fertilizer thrown on it, but nothing else is really done. So the more, in general, to answer your question, he or she, all things else being equal, he or she who mows most generally is going to have a better looking lawn. Like that is the thing that really sets a lawn apart compared to just a nutrient program and like irregular mowing. All right. So consistency more than anything else. Like you got to be out there. Like I don't know how often Oliver's mowing, but I imagine 3 times a week. I can't imagine he's out there less than 3 times a week. Granted, he's got like a baller piece of equipment to take care of his lawn, but you also gotta do it. Like if he has that mower and just sits in the garage, the lawn's not gonna look like that. So you got to get them equipment, keep it sharp, keep it set up properly, get out there and do the work, and then you get the result. So that's what I would tell you, Hustlonian. It's all about the consistency. And Oliver's like, get you one, Ron. Maybe next year. I did not need to see that picture, but good thing you sent it to me at the end of the season. So I'm not getting another mower. I don't need it. I don't need another piece of equipment. The one thing I didn't realize about the 1026 is the 2 different heights of cut, essentially is what you get. That's kind of cool. So I could set it up for a lower cutting height and then just raise, like, I guess there's like something like a switch or something you'd use or some mechanism to raise the drum or lower the drum, which is going to get you a different cutting height. It's for like a little bit taller. It's kind of cool. I don't know, man. I think I need that. You know what I mean? And then also the backlapping without having to use a drill. Also quite nice. We'll see, Oliver. We shall see. We'll see. It says, she said, Oliver's is 12K. Gotta love grass and have a huge yard to get the ROI. Not really. I mean, it's not, return on investment, yes. I mean, I don't think his lawn is not huge. It's not a small lawn, but it's just, I'd say you have to really enjoy it. Like, a person that goes out and buys a piece of equipment like this, I don't think they're necessarily buying it for return on investment. They're buying it from a standpoint of they want the absolute best possible cut that they can get. And this piece of equipment is what can do that. And they've got the budget to be able to afford it. And they bought it. You know what I mean? So there are some things in life that you get. And the reasoning behind it is just, I wanted it. I wanted one. I could afford it. And I wanted one. That's it. He doesn't mow lawns for a living. So he's not going to make any money from it. So it's not like there's any kind of ROI. I guess you could do like YouTube content on it. I mean, it would take a lot of videos to make back 12K or whatever it happened to cost. But I mean, I think just the fact that he enjoys it and gets satisfaction out of using it. And then here's the thing: if you're someone that likes tools, like I like tools, I like good quality equipment. I just really enjoy it. I enjoy working with equipment that you can tell. I always use the analogy of whenever someone's going to buy a car, right? If you're going to buy let's say a BMW, right? You could buy a regular BMW, like a 3 Series, or you could buy like an M3 or an M4, right? You could buy a Mercedes, like a C-Class, or you could buy an AMG, right? You can buy whatever. You can pick any manufacturer, pretty much in any product line. There is the car that the accountants force them to build, which is how the company stays, keeps the lights on. And there's the car the engineers wanted to build. And the Greensmaster is very much the mower that the engineers wanted to build. It's very much the mower that, the only criteria is how can we make the best piece of equipment that will do the absolute best job cutting turf grass, budget secondary. Because anyone that wants this thing, where their primary criteria is best possible cut, they're going to pay whatever we ask for it. You know what I mean? And that's why you buy a mower like that. I mean, you can buy, you can buy like a True Cut, you could buy a lot of different mowers, and they'll cut pretty good. But they're not gonna cut like that. They're not gonna cut like that. That is. And a big thing you're also paying for with this, believe it or not, that's difficult to that's difficult to realize until you actually own one. Like I have a 1600, which is not that one. It's not the 1026. Like that is a really nice mower. Like my mower is a nice mower. That's a nice mower. Is all of the features that are built into it to make it easier to live with. Like to backlap that, you don't have to go get any equipment. You just take the 2 wheels off, put them on like the little the 2 spindles, and you can backlap without any equipment. That's kind of cool. Being able to quickly shift the height of cut between like greens height and T-box height. Also convenience thing. For a homeowner, do you absolutely need to have that? No, but it's a nice convenience thing to have. You know what I mean? So you gotta remember, a Greensmaster is a commercial piece of equipment that's designed for cutting turf grass on golf courses, which we would argue is some of the like the highest standard for turf grass in the world. It's up there, right? You can say football pitches also pretty high, but golf courses, they're about as high as it gets, right? So that's their market for designing this. So if you buy one for your house, it's because you got the money to buy one and you want the absolute best. And ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I am envious. I want one, dude. That thing is all kinds of beautiful. Sexy. All right, next up is Off-Road NV. He says, dang, Oliver's place looks like money. Happy Friday. Ron, maybe it is, but whatever, man. I'm sure he works hard. I'm sure whatever he does well for himself. And he's got some nice piece of equipment, which he should. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the best reasons to go out and earn a living and make a bunch of money so you can go out and, buy cool toys for yourself. So nothing wrong. Not the only reason, but it is a reason. So no shame in his game, man. You enjoy your mower, Oliver. I want one. And Sean says, hey, Oliver, that mower is sexy. It is. And he did a good job doing that in this picture. I mean, you can't hate on that. I mean, it's a thing of beauty. Thing of beauty. Like, that could be in the Toro brochure. You should send that picture to them. They'll put it in the brochure for the 1026. Okay. Next up is Frank V. He says, hey, Ron, I'm used to using a manual reel mower with a front end and rear roller setup. Electric converted. How does a gas-powered mower like the Revolution 20 turn like? Does it tight turn with no damage? Okay, so you're asking whenever you turn it. Yeah, so the Revolution, the Greensmaster, like pretty much any good reel mower is going to have a differential mechanism in it. So that allows, it's gonna have a split drum. So that's gonna allow one half of the drum, the second two halves of the drum to spin at different speeds. And what that allows you to do is to do whip turns, to turn the mower while minimizing tearing or any kind of damage to the turf. So to answer your question, yes, it turns well without damage if your technique is good. Yes. So I've got a video, I think I did a short video a while back, maybe it was this year, of doing whip turns with a reel mower to show, yeah, here we go. Whip turns with the reel mower. It's actually, I think I was using the Greensmaster 1600. Now, mind you, I just have a lowly 1600. So after seeing Oliver's mower, I'm going to show you like the peasant greens mower to look at now. All right. But if you want to see what I'm talking about, Frank V, I use this mower several times per week. And this is doing turns with a reel mower, with a powered reel mower. So there you go. That one is doing whip turns, which is it's a technique thing. The trick is that if you're doing it right, the mower's doing all the work. Like, you can literally turn a reel mower, like you tip it back, you can literally turn a reel mower with 2 fingers. Like, you push the handlebars in the opposite direction that you want the mower to turn. So if I wanted to make it turn to the left, I push the handlebars to the right. And when you tip it back and push it, you can kind of feel it like turning in place. So then as long as you match the forward speed, so you may throttle down a little bit, your forward speed as you're coming to the end of a pass, as long as you throttle down a little bit, tip the mower back, and you match your turning speed to the speed the mower's going forward, there's not really going to be much tearing or damage or anything in the area where you made the turn. Now, if you're going really fast and you trying to whip turn, or kind of having to hold the mower back as you're turning it, then yeah, it's spinning out in place and you will have some tearing and a bit of damage to the grass, but that's really more a you thing. That's your technique more so than the equipment. So if you're doing it right, you really shouldn't have a lot of damage or tearing or anything like that whenever you are turning a reel mower. All right. So hope that helps, Frank V. It's more technique, but you can see that video that I linked there that'll show doing whip turns. I did a couple where I throttled down, and then I did one, I think towards the end, where I kept the same pace and did the last one. And you'll just notice with that one, I just did it faster. You have to be a little more aggressive with how quickly you turn the mower, but you can do that without throttling down. So there's a couple different ways of doing it. And when you spend as much time with the mower as I do, you find ways to get creative and have fun. You find games within the game, and turning it is one of the things you get better at. Okay. All right. Andre Taylor's up next. He says, what's up, Ron? Happy Friday. Is it too late to core aerate this late in the season? Not really, Andre. You can do it if you want. I mean, there's still plenty of time for it to recover. Yeah. If you want to core aerate, you can. I would not wait till, like, I say if you get into September, that's when you are, depending on where you are in the country, you could have some issues with recovery. So if you're somewhere where it's hot, like some of the viewers are in the live stream now, they're in like San Antonio, mid-Texas, it's still in the 90s, 100s. If you core aerate now, the lawn's gonna bounce back without issue. There's not gonna be any problem with that. If you wait till temps are in the low 80s, high 70s, and they're going cooler, like mid to late September, and decide you're gonna go core aerate, then you may find the lawn may struggle to recover from it. But mid-August, you're very likely to be fine, all right? Shouldn't be a problem at all. All right, Ponolamand and says, Pon you LOL, you mad? Sounds like someone used to play World of Warcraft. Says, Ron, what will happen if I spray the hose attachment type of weed feed this evening? We had a light rain earlier. Will it prevent the burn? So, I mean, so if the product the herbicide you are applying is designed to be sprayed out of a hose end sprayer and you're spraying it at the rates that they recommend, in the conditions they recommend to spray it to not have burn, which for most of the products that go in a hose end sprayer, they're going to say 85 degrees or cooler. If that's you, then no, you shouldn't have a problem. And you said you had light rain earlier. I mean, it all depends. If you sprayed and then it rained right after spraying, then you are going to be washing some of the herbicide off the leaf. If you sprayed at, say, 1 in the afternoon, and then it rained several hours later after the lawn had already dried, the rain is unlikely to have much of an effect. So like most questions, the best answer is it depends. So I'd say this, as long as you applied the product that is correct for your grass type at the rates you're supposed to apply it, in the conditions that they recommend you apply it. So again, for most hose end herbicides, weed and feed type products, they're going to tell you they'll have like a dial setting on the bottle, and most of them will say 85 degrees or cooler, or you're going to have some injury to the lawn. As long as you followed all of those, you should be fine. If you didn't follow all of those, then you're going to have some discoloration, which will be temporary. And the extent of discoloration you have will be depending on how much outside of the recommendations you strayed. All right. Lance F says, Ron, the black belt of lawn care. What fungicide? Yeah, which fungicide? Depends on whether you prefer liquid or granular. What I would tell you, Lance, for me, when it comes to fungicide, there are two that I really like. There is Pillar SC for liquid fungicide and for liquid options. And then for granular, we have, where is this? For granular, you've got a Headway G. Right? So either one of these will work well. Really depends on what your preference is. They both have dual modes of action, meaning they have two different fungicides in the product. Both fungicides are in the same family. So from a standpoint of the pathogens for the diseases they control, they're going to be for all intents and purposes, they're going to be the same. The Pillar SC, the liquid, is going to work a little bit faster, but both of these are excellent products. I've used both of them on my lawn and love both of them. So really, if you like liquid, go with Pillar SC. You like granular, go with Headway G. Cost per application with Pillar SC, you come out a bit better. Like this is less expensive to apply per 1,000 square feet than Headway is, but that's true pretty much for most liquid products you're going to apply on your lawn. Pretty much always, not always, but in most cases, liquid concentrate per 1,000 is less expensive than a granular product, mainly just due to like it's more expensive to make a prill than it is to make a suspension concentrate. All right. So hope that helps, Lance. I will send you a link to where you can find our collection of fungicides and insecticides and other cool stuff to keep the nasty stuff out of your lawn. Feel free to take a look at your heart's content, but Headway or Pillar SC is the way I would go with. The black belt of lawn care. I'll take that. Yeah, man. I'm done with testing for a while. You know, was recently got promoted. It was awesome. It was a great experience, and done with testing for probably the foreseeable future. At least 5 years, probably a whole lot longer. All right. Okay. Next up we have Sheet is saying, oh, he's also mentioning St. Augustine. He says it will work well in shade spots and won't kill the Bermuda. Yeah, but even St. Augustine, I mean, often called the shade grass of the South, it still needs sunlight to do well. All right, Buddy Brown is up next. He says, I didn't apply pre-emergent this year. Buddy, why not? Why did you not apply pre-emergent? Because I got a little crabgrass in my yard. Well, thank goodness it's only little. I am okay with it. Okay, so you can't talk yourself through like, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I got some crabgrass. I'm okay. A little bit of crabgrass. Hey, who doesn't have crabgrass? So now the question, is it okay to hold on for herbicide application and start over with pre-emergent at the end of September? It depends on what you're trying to accomplish, man. If you're fine with crabgrass being in your lawn and you just want to wait for it to die off, and when it gets cooler, then sure, you don't have to use a post-emergent herbicide. And you want to use fall pre-emergent, that would be fine too. But remember that the fall pre-emergent that you're putting down, and I would not wait till the end of September. I would again, earlier is better than late when it comes to pre-emergent. I would apply in early September and then again in the November, December timeframe. That's just me, but I've done it literally for like 5+ years, 6+ years now, and it works great. Like, it's a really good way to keep weeds out of your lawn. But if you want to wait till later on, by all means proceed. Your mileage will vary. And as far as the weeds, man, it depends on whether or not you want to live with it or not. And if it were me, I would get rid of them. I would get like quinclorac or something with quinclorac in it, like Drive Accelerate, and use that to clean up the crabgrass that's in your lawn. Because it would bother me, but if it doesn't bother you, then you don't have to do anything about it. You know what I mean? Like my lawn, I got a little bit of spurge here and there that everyone's dealing with this time of year, and it bothers me. So what I do, I break out the Celsius and I go like that to the spurge, and it goes and it dies off. That's what happens. I could wait till it gets really cold and wait for it to die, but why would I do that? It's ugly. It's unsightly. All right, BSS Smith 333 is next. He says, I scout my lawn down to from half an inch to a quarter every fall, and I have 0 issues in Maryland, so we get snow and long cold spells. So this is a great question for the person that said, hey, I think it was John Smith saying, hey, so should I lower my height of cut? Is there any truth to that I must do so? You could look at BSS Smith. Being in Maryland, they do get temperatures that are colder more consistently for longer than we do here in Georgia. He's taking his lawn even shorter than I take my lawn. He goes from half an inch to a quarter of an inch, and his zoysia is just fine. See? So there you go. There you go. Next up is Lance F. He says, what fungicide should I alternate every month on Kentucky bluegrass? Thank you. Okay, so a couple things. As far as fungicides, I would say, I've already given you the two. I'd do Pillar SC or Headway G. If you're going to alternate away from those, so say you do 2 apps and you feel you need to alternate to a different one, I would go to a fungicide that's in a different family, like 336F. That's what I would go with. Now, the thing you did not ask, but I'm going to talk about anyway, is applying fungicides every month. You shouldn't have to do that. Unless you're maintaining your lawn at greens heights, which most people are not, you really shouldn't need to have fungicides applied every single month on your lawn. The time that I find it, you tend to get a lot out of it for as far as like the money you're spending, the time you're spending to apply the fungicides versus the benefits tend to be in the late spring, early summer. So in the months of May and June, a preventive fungicide app, I believe, is really good insurance. Like, that's the time when you are likely to have disease problems, or they're starting to develop then. So it's a good time to do it preventatively. And then in the fall, in the months of October and then in November, preventative fungicide app, I believe there's a lot of value in that as well. And this is someone that I mow my lawn literally every other day, starting from like April until like October. So I'm injuring my lawn much more frequently than most of you guys are. It's at 5/8 for most of the season. Then I go up to like 3/4 of an inch, and it's going to stay there until the end of the season. And I'm doing what I tell you. I apply fungicide in May and June, and then I will apply fungicide again in October and November. Monthly fungicide apps really should not be necessary for your Kentucky bluegrass lawn. If you're going to do that, though, I'd say 2 apps of either Headway or Pillar, and then rotate to something in a different family. But again, should not be necessary. You're probably overdoing it on fungicides in your on your lawn, is what I would tell you. All right. Big thing is, if you're having disease issues, make sure you're not overwatering, not over fertilizing, and that your equipment is sharp. I cannot stress enough how important it is, especially if you're real mowing, to keep your equipment well adjusted and sharp, Lance. So hope that helps, sir. Great question. I gave you my options. I would try and push you away from monthly fungicide apps. You really shouldn't need it. That's like something that's really for golf greens. That's not really a residential lawn mowed at 5/8, 3/4 of an inch, and inch heights. You shouldn't be needing to use fungicides that much. All right. Let's see here. Next up is Devin Dionfrio. He says, hey, Ron, I want to top dress my lawn, but have some spots with growth issues. What does that mean? What does growth issues mean? Like bare spots, shaded areas? Suggest those top dressing as getting a level lawn for me is important, but I don't want to make the bad spots worse. Thoughts? Okay, great question, Evan. Difficult to answer without understanding like why you have the growth issues. Like if you have an area of the lawn that the grass doesn't grow because of shade, because of wear, because of poor drainage, then no, I would not go top dress those areas because the top dressing is not really going to fix it. Like if a lawn is already struggling, like although it's a mild stressor, it is a stressor to the lawn. So if you go put it on a part of a lawn that's not doing well, that's not going to make it just automatically do a lot better. The areas of the lawn that are doing well, if you want to top dress, that would be fine. But knowing what's behind the growth issues, I would want to solve that. I want to figure that out. I'd want to solve that issue as part of this. You know, I wouldn't say you can't, that it's going to hold you back from top dressing the other areas, but I would not go out there and start top dressing an area that's struggling, thinking that that's going to fix it. Especially if it's been that way like all season long. You know what I mean? If you have like a part of the lawn that chronically has problems, again, maybe due to shade, overwatering, like poor drainage, disease, like putting some sand on it isn't really necessarily going to fix that. So I'd want to address that before we get into any kind of major project. Okay, Evan. So hope that helps. It would be useful to know what growth issues actually means, and you know, based on that, we can come up with a plan of action to get you moving the right direction. All right. I get it, because you know, I know you said that top dressing is a priority for you, but what you could end up with is really just a lawn that has got just top dressing material there with no grass growing through it, and you're not going to like that. So it might be level and smooth, but it's going to be like level and smooth and it's dirt. There's no grass. All right. So it'd be interesting to find out what's going on with it. All right, Devin Demayer's up next. He says, "What's up, Ron? Looking forward to some great turf talk, man." Devin, I gotta tell you, man, I gotta show you. Did I show you the hotness? Hopefully, you've been in here. I gotta show off Oliver's equipment. Look at. You take a moment to look and appreciate that. I mean, that's something special. But yeah, man, I'm doing well. Can't complain. You know, living the dream. And yeah, it's hopefully if you've been around for a while, you would have already seen that. All right, Tom Havenkamp says, "Happy Friday, Ron. Who loves this part of the season? It's a great time of year here in Southern California for Bermuda peeps. Almost every cool season." Now, see, you were doing really well, Tom. This comment was it was like top marks until we get to this point here. If you want to know how you get hate mail, this is how you get hate mail. It says, "Almost every cool season lawn is nearly dead. The law of comparison is sweet." See, that's it. Tom, taking enjoyment in the suffering of others is not nice. This is not good. You don't be like that, man. That's not nice. That's not nice. Did you send me the video? It doesn't look like you did. So I'll have to show it next week because I can't download it that you sent. But you're saying all the cool season lawns are dying off now, so my lawn looks super awesome. Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying, but I mean, they're gonna don't your neighbors see this? They're gonna feel some kind of way about it, Tom. But yeah, give me that video, man, if you can. Send the share it as it were it's open, and just send me the link, and then I'll be able to download it because right now I can't. All right, Gomez says, "Thanks for the FERT recommendation last week. I have Tiff Tough in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Is it too late to level the lawn with sand?" Dude, okay, if you're gonna go light, sure, but I mean, really, why are we waiting until like mid to late August? Today's literally the middle of August. We had like all of August, all of July, all of June, all of May, most of April to solve this problem. Why are we waiting until the last minute? Huh, Gomez? Why? Help me understand. Help me understand why now is the time to do that. I mean, if you want to do it and you want to go, again, light, a quarter of an inch of material, don't go heavy with the top dressing. If you want to roll the dice and do that, you can. I mean, sounds like it's still really hot in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so the lawn's likely going to grow through it. But I would say we'd had this conversation 4 weeks ago, then you don't have to have the whole Ron on a soapbox saying, "Why are you waiting until the last minute? Why are you procrastinating on your top dressing work?" See, you wouldn't have that. The struggle is real. All right, Chuck Thomas says, "I sent you an email question at 2:09 today. Did I do wrong?" I don't know if I have an email from you, Chuck. Let me look here really quick. I get a lot of email. Chuck. Oh, yeah, here we go. 3 types of email in your lawn. Okay, yeah, I do see this one. 2 types. You said you sent me PDF, so that's why I didn't put these in the chat. So Chuck asked a question. Let me see if I can get this on here really quickly because I think you guys actually would like to see this. I'm gonna have to cut and paste, and yeah, we'll see if this works. We'll see. That one shows it up really well. This one less so. So this is a picture that Chuck sent me earlier where he says, hey, I've got a picture of my lawn where the pillar put sod in 20 plus years ago. And it looks like there are 3 different types of grass in there. Is there anything I can do? So I'll show you guys the picture. I'll share this with you really quick. Let me name this so I know what I'm doing here. So Chuck T. All right, so this is his lawn. And, you know, if you look, you can see what looks like different types of grass. So if you look near the mailbox, there's one type of grass. And then between the mailbox and us, the vantage point we're at, there's like a strip, maybe 3-4 feet wide, where there's a different type of grass. And then there's like an L-shaped thing. That's another type of grass. And so his question is, you know, after heavy notes of iron, it blends in nicely for about 4 mows, then it's noticeable. Anything I can do to make it all blend in together. So the question is, you got different types of grass. I do an application of nitrogen and it kind of masks it for a while. But then once that wears off, it looks like what we are seeing here. No, not really. As far as making it all blend in together, no, not really, Chuck. Like what you're doing as far as maybe spoon feeding with a little bit of iron regularly, that would be a way to hide it. The only other option is to renovation, like rip it out and put like just one type of grass in there. Is what I would tell you. So the iron, to your point, like you said, it masks it for a while, but then once it wears out, then the natural color differences between the types of grass that are in your lawn, which I'll show here, the natural color differences are what are showing up here. So it looks like you got some Bermuda and maybe, I don't know what the grass near the mailbox and the one that's like the L-shaped looking grass is. Maybe it's a different cultivar Bermuda, but you can see that that's the natural color of that grass type when it's not being, you know, juiced up with iron. So if you don't like that and you can't live with like the patchiness of it, I'd say probably not this year, but for next season, plan for a renovation. Like just kill that off and just plan to put in just one stand of turf grass, and then it's going to match. And given that you said it's been 20 plus years, if it was going to blend, it'll blend in by now. So it's not going to. So what you got is probably what you got, is what I would tell you. All right, Chuck. So thanks for the question. Thanks for reminding me. I did see your email earlier. I just it was PDF, so I was like, it's not. I can't get that on the live stream. So I just made it work really quickly for you because you were here. All right. So hope that helps, sir. I say just plan for a renovation is what I would say. You're going to be happier with that than trying to make them blend together because they don't want to. They're not going to. All right, Timothy Gonzalez is up next. He says, I just wanted to stop by and say I'll catch the show later. Okay. But Ron, what's up with Bermuda, man? You're all Zoysia now. That's not true. I still got Bermuda. I still do updates of the Bermuda. The Bermuda's still back there. Listen, man, let me enjoy my new toy. Guys, we've had like 9 years of nothing but Bermuda. I got like 4 months of Zoysia and I'm enjoying the Zoysia. I am showing the Zoysia some love. In the update video I did today, I showed the Bermuda. I flashed it. I showed, hey, there's a Bermuda grass. So you guys want to see the Bermuda? And I went back to the Zoysia. Like, let me enjoy my new toy. It'd be like Oliver with his new mower and all he talks about is a 1026 and be like, man, listen, you had like a 1600. Let's talk about that. Like, let the man enjoy his new toy. Let me enjoy the new Zoysia for just a little bit. On that note, have you guys seen my Zoysia? It's 4 months old. You know, I'm spoon feeding it the same way I spoon feed my Bermuda. I've top dressed it twice. I really like the color of Zoysia. Really enjoy the grass, and I get why people like it. So, in case you guys haven't seen, there's my Zoysia. I'm quite proud of it. But I get what you're saying, Timothy. All jokes aside, I will start doing more content and show the Bermuda more since you guys are all like up in arms all about it. All right. Henry Thieling says, which reel mowers are in the rotation right now for you? Pretty much the Greensmaster. The Greensmaster is doing most of the heavy lifting. The Allet I use primarily just for verticutting, and then the Revolution is I use it for cutting, like doing trim work. So between Alex's lawn and my lawn, there's a section of the lawn, like the swale area where the back lawn drains, that is too narrow for the greens masher to get through, but the Revolution works perfectly in there. So I use the Revolution in there, and I also use it along the fence line and just some other tighter areas of the lawn where you need something that's a little bit more nimble than the greens master. So even though they have the same like cutting width, the Revolution is an easier mower to maneuver. Also, it doesn't have the axles on it like the greens master does, so it just takes up, it tracks in a narrower space than the GM. So really all three of them, but for cutting, it's the Greensmaster and the Revolution right now. All right, she says, ROI is not necessary money. I have a California Catalyst. I don't have a lawn to justify Oliver's mower. I do agree with your perspective. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, ROI, well, when you talk about ROI, we are talking money. Like return on investment is that. I mean, if you're talking about ROI, you're talking about money. Like if you're putting money out there, how does the money that I spent on XYZ, like, return come back to me? If I go out and I buy a new lens, you say, what's the ROI on that new lens? Some of it could be, well, yeah, I can make different content. I can get different angles. It can look cooler. It can make content that is better, that might, get more reach, and it can eventually pay for itself. But the truth of the matter is, if I buy another lens, it's highly unlikely that it's going to make that much of a difference in my content. But as far as my enjoyment in making the content, like that has a lot of value. So in many cases, it's just because I liked it and really wanted it and could justify for what I do why I wanted it. And I think a mower is very much the same way. Like a greens mower, like no one needs, well, I should say that. No one truly needs a greens mower, but if you're going to get one, like the Greensmaster 1026, like the one that Oliver got, that's the one the engineers want to build. That's one bad mamma jamma, man. That's a sweet piece of equipment. Oliver says, some spend money on cars and modding them. You talk about a bunch of money being spent. Like you think grass, like what we spend on our mowers and lawn care products and everything else we do is expensive? Start getting into tuning cars. I mean, you start counting in increments of tens of thousands of dollars. And that's if you're not doing anything that's crazy exotic. You're doing anything, anything German or, more, you're talking like big money. So lawn care as a hobby is relatively inexpensive compared to things you could be spending money on. He says, but some on fishermen, some on firearms. I choose lawn care. We men understand each other on this. I get it. But listen, man, Oliver, you're a man after my own heart. I completely understand it. And you don't have to justify it. If the justification or the reasoning of, I just wanted it. I thought it was really cool and I liked the way it looked and I just like my lawn and it's a better mower for my lawn and it's shiny and it was pretty and I wanted one. Good enough for me. Good enough for me. All right. Next up is, I guess, someone named Ron that has a question. He says, good evening, Ron. Ron, would you recommend laying Xeon Zoysia 12x12 in a shaded area on a Bermuda lawn in North Carolina? Is it an area next to the house and the Bermuda isn't thriving there? Yes and no. So here's a challenge you have to realize, Ron, I'm talking to myself, it's kind of a weird question to answer, is that while Zoysia does better than Bermuda in shaded areas, it also does really well in full sun, like my lawn, right? Like there's not a whole lot of shade there and the Zoysia is absolutely living its best life. So what you might find is you may start out putting the Zoysia in that 12 by 12 foot section, but over time, it's not going to stay there. Like if the 12 by 12 foot section is mainly shade and just outside of there is a lot of sunlight, the Zoysia is going to be like, that's really nice over there. And there's lots of sunlight. And the Bermuda can't come into me, but I can go towards it. So what you may find is the Zoysia may start creeping out and it may not just stay in that area. So as long as you're willing to live with that and realize that we're talking Zoysia here, so it's not like it's going to happen overnight, but as long as you realize that Zoysia is unlikely just to stay in that area and it doesn't really bother you, then sure. I mean, if you want to have a warm season grass and something that can be mowed shorter and has that nice, golf course turf grass appearance to it, then Zoysia is a great option. But it's not like Zoysia only grows in shade. It grows in shaded areas. It grows really well with full sun. So it's likely to slowly encroach into the Bermuda. And unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, there's not really, not that I'm aware of anyway, there's not really a selective way to remove Zoysia out of Bermuda. You can do the opposite. Meaning if you have a Bermuda lawn, or if you have a Zoysia lawn, you have Bermuda in it, you want to get rid of the Bermuda in the Zoysia, that problem has been solved. We have a way to do that, and it's frankly an amazing way of doing it. Doesn't damage the zoysia, gets rid of the Bermuda. It's like does all the things it's supposed to do and then some. But if you have the opposite, there's not really a way of controlling the zoysia selectively and not killing the Bermuda in the process too. So just something to keep in mind before you go about doing that. All right. All right. Next up is Toucan Sam says, you still got that Super, Ron? I do. Super's still there, still going strong. I actually got to wash it tomorrow morning. Although with all this rain, I may not be able to do it because, here's the thing. It never fails. I bloody wash the cars and then it rains like the following day. And it's really irritating because I do a really good job detailing the cars, getting them looking really nice. And then it rains. So I tend to like to have a few days of no rain in the forecast so I can at least enjoy it being clean. But the plan is to wash it tomorrow morning. We'll have to see what the weather looks like. Okay, next up is Phantom Airsoft. He says, what's up, Ron? No question. Just want to say you look like you're in your son's room. My son's room? It's my office, man. It's my office. I look like I'm in your son's room. No, man. It's like a studio. This is like grown folks' office, man. We're talking about, I got like pictures of like moles that I've killed over the years. Got the American flag, because you got to have American flag. Got to have that. Got a mower back here. Outlet, the Sterling, a 1 of 1. Piece of history back here. Got my lenses and whatnot. This is, to call this like kids would love to have a room this cool. All right. Next up is Jason Crawl. I think this is our last comment or question of the evening. He says, Ron, pray tell, what do you think about robotic mowers? Having a lot of on my plate right now, and it's hard to keep up even with growth regulator. I think I can still real mow my lawn in between mowing with a robotic. I think that it's great. It's a great option for you, Jason. So if you want to keep your lawn manicured, you don't have the time to be out there mowing it several times per week, and you want the robot mower to get there and do the fill in, like the in-between cuts, yeah, man, go for it. I'd say that. I'd rather you do that than not mow your lawn. Absolutely. So am I ready to switch over to a robotic mower fully at this point? No. Am I even ready to put one in the rotation? Not quite yet. Maybe next year, maybe next season. Might be a thing. Maybe next season I might try what you're doing, where I have a robotic mower that runs on the lawn, the back lawn all the time, and then I still go out there a few times a week with the real mower and set my stripes and mow it and have it looking the way I want it to look. I might try that just as an experiment, and we can say like a hybrid approach to taking care of your lawn. You guys might like to see that, right? We'll see if we're real mowing, some of the time, and you're having a robotic mower cutting the rest of the other time. How does the lawn look? Does the robotic mower mess up the stripes, or does it just do a pretty good job keeping the lawn short and not mess up the stripe action too much? That could be a kind of a cool experiment for a season. But I would tell you, man, no shame. It is better to mow your grass than not mow it at all. Whether you're doing it, you're paying someone else to do it, or you have a robot doing it, better that it's getting cut than not getting cut. All right. So don't feel any shame if you're going to go to like a robotic mower. Nothing wrong with that. All right. Gomez says, thanks for the lecture, lawn dad. Life got in the way of my leveling plans. That's why the late start. So got a little nippy there, man. Okay. I can't take a joke. All right. Well, at the end of the day, if you want to level Gomez, you want to do it now, you can. I just say go light, because the season, like the amount of time we have for high temperatures, longer days, like in other words, sunlight to help the lawn bounce back from top dressing, is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So the sooner you can do it, the better. That's all I would tell you. All right. You know better than me, like how quickly the lawn is growing in your part of the country, how it's doing. And based on that, you can decide whether leveling is for you. If you're going to do it, I'd do it like this weekend. I wouldn't want to wait till September. In other words, I wouldn't go another 2 weeks trying to make up your mind to do this. If you're going to do it, I would get on it like this weekend. If you're going to do it, I wouldn't like, time is not on your side, I guess is what we're trying to get to. All right. Next up is, Sheed is up next. Is one day you have to show us the streaming equipment. Do you have a Rodecaster Pro or a Duo? What streaming platform do you use? I have neither of those. So I got a lot of custom stuff. So my background is in tech. Like I'm a tech guy. So I tried a lot of the capture cards that you can buy, like the USB capture cards. And the problem is that when I'm live streaming, like this is in 4K. And if you are doing, and they may have gotten better now, but when I started doing this 5 years ago, all the USB ones, they'd be good for like maybe 20, 30 minutes. Then you start having like frame rate drops and just they were inconsistent, right? They just didn't work that well. So for my live stream, what I ended up doing is I found out like what are some of the capture cards that are used in broadcast. And I just built a chassis. I built a rig for doing that. So like whenever I'm doing live stream, like filming content outside, or I'm doing a live stream outside, I have, I'll show you one. I'll show you this guy right here. This is my stripe action capture card, but this is like a, it's a chassis from Sonet Tech. That's a Thunderbolt. And in here, you can see there are a bunch of SDI interfaces, right? So I don't use like USB anymore. So I use SDI to go from my cards into, from my cameras into here. And then I've got HDMI for like a roving camera. So I have like a camera that I run on a gimbal. And for that one, the feed that goes into that from my video broadcasting solution, my Teradex, is HDMI. But for the most part, I use SDI, and you notice that you never see any live streams where there's like a drop in frame rates or any stuttering or anything like that. And it's because I have one of these that's under my desk that just stays in my office that I use, that all the cameras run into. And that's why it looks the way it looks and performs the way it does. So it's all custom stuff. It's not really anything you're going to be able to buy off the shelf anywhere. I guess you could build it, but you have to buy all the parts and put it together yourself. And then for the platform, because I'm a Mac guy, I use Ecamm. Ecamm Live is what I use. All right. Cool. So hope that helps, Sheed. I mean, obviously there's a lot more to it, but that's in a short period of time. That's what I do, or how I do what I do. All right. Cars with Kiev says just Verticut and the height of cut reset from 1 1/4 inches to 1 inch today. Is it too late for that? Nah. Plus, you already did it. Like you're asking, but you already did it. So we're already there. We're gonna find out now, right? But no, 1/4 inch is gonna be just fine. There's not gonna be an issue. I say it's 1 1/4 inches, but it was floating so bad that it was taller than that most likely. I live in Brazelton. Yeah, you're fine, man. You're not that far from me. We still got plenty of season left, plenty of heat. It's gonna recover. I wouldn't worry about it. And then next up is Mehdi. He says, hey Ron, how soon can you top dress new Bermuda sod in your opinion? A month after application? Once it roots in, a month or so later. Like again, not talking about my Zoysia again, because apparently that's now a thing, talking about the Zoysia. Like this that you see here was top dressed right at a month after it was put in. So this went in the beginning of April, and in May, I want to say the first or second week of May is when it got its first top dressing, and you can see it's absolutely fine. And Zoysia grows a lot slower, or spreads a lot more slower than Bermuda does, and it's been great, no problems at all. So Bermuda, as soon as you put the sod in, here's what I would say, Mehdi. If I were going to install a new Bermuda lawn with sod, here's how I'd go about it. And the goal were to get it down to real mowing height. So say you want to get a Bermuda lawn freshly sodded, and you want to get it, Oliver will become a verb. You want to get it on that Oliver status, right? You want to get a lawn that looks like that, right? So you sod the lawn. Once it begins tacking down, which is not going to take very long with Bermuda, and as soon as there is new growth, is there any kind of new growth, start mowing it. As soon as there's something to mow it. So really within 2 weeks, 3 weeks at the absolute latest, you should be having a mower on the lawn regularly mowing it. That's going to stimulate new growth. It's going to allow the lawn to fill in and just going to encourage the lawn to establish a bit faster. A month, at the 6 week mark, you can get out there and top dress it. Again, I would go light. So about a cubic yard of material per 1,000 square feet. That's going to end up being about a 1/4 to 1/2 inch of material over the lawn. And then just keep up with your mowing in between that. And that is the fastest way, in my opinion, to take a newly sodded lawn, whether it be Bermuda or Zoysia, and get it down to real mowing heights and have it, look like, get it golf course lawn quality as quickly as possible. I think one of the big mistakes people make whenever they sod a new lawn is they baby it too much. They put the sod in, they have the lawn sitting there, and they're like, I want to give it 2 months before I put a mower on it. For the entire season, it can't see any herbicides whatsoever. I got to let weeds just have their way. And this is simply not true. Like, again, what you are looking at here, and again, Bermuda folks, hold on to your chairs. I'm going to show Zoysia again. I know. This launch you're looking at, again, within a month, 5 weeks of it being installed, it got top dressed. Within, before the 2 month mark, it got a broadcast spray of Recognition and Fusillade, so a herbicide combination for cleaning up Bermuda grass. So I was getting some Bermuda grass breakthrough. And what you are seeing is what you're seeing. Like I haven't been doing everyday updates here recently, but for a period there of like the first 2 months, every day I was doing an update. You guys saw everything that was done on this lawn, and you see it now at the 4-month mark, newly installed, top dressed twice, has had 2 rounds of post-emergent herbicides on it, has had fungicide applied to it, has had like pretty much all the things done to it, and it looks great. You know what I mean? So I'd say if you want a new lawn, you can sod it, a new Bermuda lawn, you can sod it within a few weeks. I'll start within 6 weeks, but just start mowing it. The thing that's going to really get you on the path to having a great lawn is start mowing it as soon as possible. The sooner you can start mowing it, as soon as there's something growing, start cutting it. That's going to be the thing that's going to really help the lawn really take off. All right. That's what I would tell you. Okay, Good Man's Journey says, Ron, what do you recommend for POA control in a cool season, perennial ryegrass and Kentucky bluegrass? Oh, you had to say KBG, didn't you? I'm about to overseed in a few weeks. So if all you have is ryegrass, then what I would tell you to use is Velocity PM. Like this is what you want to use for controlling Poa Annua and Poa trivialis in a fescue or a ryegrass lawn. Using this on Kentucky bluegrass is a bit of rolling the dice because there are some cultivars of KBG that do tolerate it, but the only way to really know is to test it. Like the manufacturer gave me a list. Like if you go to the golf course lawn store under our weed killer section, you will find Velocity PM there, and in the description there's like a link to a document they shared with me with all the grass types that they tested it against. But the way to really know is just to test it on your lawn and see, right? So it's kind of an expensive way of figuring out whether or not your KBG will tolerate it or not. But this is the stuff to use if you want to keep or get rid of Poa Annua, Poa trivialis, be able to manage Poa Annua in a cool season lawn, hence the name PM and Velocity PM. It stands for Poa Annua, Poa management. This is the stuff to use. But the KBG is the only question mark really in this. If you told me all you had was rye, Velocity PM all the way. If you had told me all you have is fescue, then again, Velocity PM, there'd be no issue whatsoever. But when you have a blended lawn and some of it is Kentucky bluegrass, there is a risk of damage depending on your cultivar, how well it's going to tolerate the herbicide. Because Kentucky bluegrass and annual bluegrass, Poa Annua, they're kind of like, they're kissing cousins, right? They're kind of, they're from the same family to an extent. So that's what I would tell you, sir. Hopefully that helps. Look into Velocity. We've got it on our site. I'll send you actually a link to it here if you'd like for you to take a look at in your free time. And at this link, you'll also see the, I want to say I still have it here. I think I do. There in the product description, there is there's like literally one of the first sentences is a list of KBG cultivars that it's been tested on and that supposedly tolerate it just fine. All right, so take a look at that and go accordingly. All right, so hopefully that helps. Okay, next up is she says, I'm an Ecamm live guy with an FX30. You got me by miles at that moment. Yeah, I have an FX30. That's like I have one of those as like my B-roll camera. I want to take like the big camera out and have to set it all up and just something I can just use handheld. I have an FX30. Like it's a cool camera, like an A7S III, but like commercial. At least so he wants you to believe. All right. Next up, he says, thanks for answering the question. He says, what format do you want the picture sent in? It's no worries, Chuck. I already got them. I say just send them as JPEGs going forward. And whenever you take a picture of the lawn, send it in landscape. So like would you have your phone or camera turn like this, not like this. This is portrait. This is not good. It makes it difficult to get it on the screen. If you send it with a picture like so, then you'll be good to go. All right. So that's what I would tell you. All right, James Black says, I'm struggling with my lawn at the moment. Bermuda, it's weak and has some areas of thatch built up. Do I need to get the heavy dethatch out? I would not heavily dethatch it. What I would say is if you have some areas that are struggling and you think it's due to thatch, kind of unlikely, but if that's the case, if you want to lightly verticut or lightly turf rake it to kind of remove or relieve some of that debris in the lawn, that would be okay. But we want to figure out why it's weak because June, July, August are really the months of the year when Bermuda is growing most aggressively. So if you find that you're now in August and it's still weak and thin and it's been that way all season, we have to do some detective work. Like we have to start asking question one: is there shade? Is it getting enough sunlight? Is there debris underneath the surface, like that's causing particular parts of the lawn to struggle? Are you fertilizing it properly? Is there a fertility problem? So getting a soil test will be the way to know whether or not what you're, if there's a nutrient deficiency that's causing the problem. So you have to kind of just walk down like all the things that will cause a stand of turf grass to not thrive, and then slowly check them off. And eventually you're going to get to the one that is the problem. You fix that, and then the lawn will take off. So yes, can you thin it out some? Yes. I mean, it'll help, but I'd also want you to do a soil test. Make sure there's not a shade issue. Make sure there's not a disease or like debris or trash under the lawn that's causing a problem. So there's a lot of things you can also look into before you get to the point of running a dethatcher on it, is what I would tell you, James. All right. So hope that helps, sir. I'm sorry that you're struggling with your lawn, but it can get better. Just go down the process of elimination of what it could be. All right, DeBoer PGA says, I love your stuff. I've learned so much from you. Thanks for the education. You are very, very welcome. Thank you so much for watching the content. Really means a lot. And then Ken Wall says, Ron, what's the height of cut for your backyard? Your stripe action is on point. I like to keep mine low, but I'm having trouble getting the stripes at all. It's sitting at 3/4 of an inch right now, Ken. That's where I'm at. 3/4 of an inch. The beginning of the season, I start out at 5/8, but then sanity steps in and I go up to 3/4 of an inch and I just leave it there. All right. Maybe next year I'll try and play the game on hard mode, and I'll say I'm going to try and keep the front lawn, the zoysia, and the back lawn at 5/8 all season long. We'll give that a go and see how tough that is to pull off. All right. But it's at 3/4 of an inch in case you wonder. And then Mehdi says, last question. What's the best herbicide for nutsedge? My lawn is literally 2 weeks old. Can I spot treat the weeds yet? Thank you so much. Yes, you can spot treat the weeds. And for sedge control, what I would use in a warm season lawn like Bermuda is Certainty. So this is your jam. That's what you want to go with for sedge control. All right. So again, if you go to the golf course lawn store, go to shop, weed killer, front and center, you will find Certainty. This is what I would roll with. This is what you want for sedges. Certainty, a little bit of surfactant, a little bit of spreader sticker, a little bit of this in the tank, and it'll make pretty quick work of sedges this time of year. If you wanted to, as far as like rates, you could go, use 3 small scoops and some surfactant. If you're dealing with sedges that are a bit more mature, 1 large scoop in surfactant, and that's gonna do a pretty good job taking out the sedges. All right. Toucan Sam says, when would you stop using wetting agents? Around now. Like, I don't know that I would do another round of wetting agents now on my lawn. Like, I've never applied like Hydrotain or any other moisture managers this late in the season. Like, if you're going to go and if you're going to overseed with like ryegrass, or if you live somewhere where it's hot and it stays, like, in other words, your growing season goes until like November, then an argument can be made that you could absolutely still use a wetting agent if you want to. But for me, I tend to not do one this time of year, just not really necessary. Okay. And next up, and then she says image. I would not use image personally for sedge control this time of year. I would use Certainty. I would not use image. And then Tom Hovicup says, please let me clarify, Ron. He says, I have no hate on cool seasons. It's just darn near impossible to keep it nice here at this point in the season. 100% sun, 0 rain since March. Wow. Bermuda loves the heat. No, I get it. Yeah, I mean, if you have a cool season lawn where you live in the country, summertime, it's you are on the struggle bus. You're definitely on the struggle bus. And no rain and high temps. It's not a great recipe. That's why it doesn't work here. Like, there was a neighbor down the street that had 2 big trees, and I think this past season they tried to do ryegrass. It's okay. We're gonna do ryegrass. There's lots of shade. It's cool. That'll help the ryegrass survive. And they put the ryegrass down. They put it seeded in. It grew in really quickly, germinated, looked really, really nice until about June when the heat got here. And even though they watered it, it still just got burnt to a crisp. All died out. They ended up taking the trees out. So cool season like Kentucky bluegrass, ryegrass, not going to work in this part of the country. Not throughout the entire season. I mean, up until April and early May can be all right, but really not a season-long grass choice for really hot temps like what we have here. All right. James Black says, I think it's a fertilizer issue by using a company for that. Not impressed. The way to know, James, is with data. So get a soil test. The one I recommend is the one that we carry from My Soil. Reason being is that they are easy to use. The results are easy to interpret. And when you go with these, they save your results in a portal that you get access to, which is kind of cool, so that you can, if you do another one next spring, it's easy to compare like the fall 2025 soil test to the spring 2026 soil test. So you can easily see how the nutrient levels in your soil are changing over time. So I would say that it could be a fertilizer issue, very well could be. We're not going to know without soil test data. So I will send you a link to what I'd recommend that you go with. So go with this guy. And that's the start of knowing what fertilizer or nutrient deficiency you have, if any, in your lawn. All right. And then next up is Terrence Stam. He says, hey, Ron and et al. Thanks for answering my question I sent you. As a cool season guy, looks like I need to pack up my equipment and wait till it's not so hot outside. Listen, Terrence, there are literally viewers. Like I have some people that I've never met them, but I would consider them friends. We correspond quite a bit. And literally when it's like late June rolls around, like they're like, yeah, man. So you're not going to hear from me until like late August, early September timeframe. They just kind of they water some to try and keep the grass alive, but they just don't really, they don't really do a whole lot to their cool season lawn during the summer months because it's just so difficult with the temps to keep it looking good. So, I mean, is it possible? Absolutely it is, but you have to do all the things right. You got to make use of moisture managers, got to keep up with your watering, can't push too much growth. Like when you look at like Devin's lawn, like he's a great example of someone that's lawn. Do I have any pictures of his lawn? That looks really good all season long. Here we go. Yeah, so this is a Kentucky bluegrass lawn. And this picture was from either a week or 2 weeks ago. So plenty hot and looks spectacular, right? So there's a cool season lawn that in July, early August, still looks really good, right? Like most of you guys would take that, right? But he has a really good program. I mean, he runs the nutrient program for a golf course, so he knows what he's doing. He uses moisture managers. He does all the things, make sure it gets enough water. He does all the things properly to help his grass survive and still look good, even in summer temperatures. So is it impossible to have a cool season lawn that looks great in the summer? No, not impossible. Is it hard? Yeah, but not like it's an impossible thing to do. You got an example of one right there. Someone that's pulling it off and consistently has done so, and his lawn continues to look good. So it can be done. Can be done. All right, Adam Stark says, hey, Ron and lawn crew, hopping on late. We'll go back and watch the live in a few. Hit the like button and hope everyone is well. I appreciate it, Adam. You still came by to say hello, which means a lot. He said, also, this time of year, I have Bermuda with a lot of loose dead clippings. Other than regular mowing and bagging, what do you recommend? So if you have a lot of clippings of the lawn, you can use a light turf raking to clean a lot of that debris out, and then bagging your clippings. You can just start doing that if you want, Jason. So you can do a light verticut, light turf rake to kind of give things a mild reset. And then from there, if you keep up with your mowing, you're regularly mowing the lawn. So you're not going more than like, you're not going like 2 weeks between mowing your lawn, I guess what I would say, right? So you're mowing the lawn at least once a week. Really, if you're watching this show, you need to be mowing it like twice a week. If you're doing that, then thatch buildup really should not be a problem for you, assuming you're not over fertilizing the lawn. So that's what I would tell you. If you just want to do a light turf rake to kind of reset things, that's okay. But you know, you shouldn't have a problem with thatch if you're keeping up with your mowing is what I would say. All right. Well, cool. Guys, gals, I think that's all we have in the show for tonight. It's all the questions we have. So we will cue out the outro music. As always, thank you guys so much for taking the time to hang out with me on a Friday night to talk about lawn care and other topics, camera equipment, and all that kind of jazz. Hopefully, you guys have had a great season with your lawn. There's still time to help improve things. And for all of my cool season brethren and sisterin, your second season is about to start. So you guys are about to live your best life and really have a good time out in the lawn, while we, with our warm season turf grass, are about to check out and just live vicariously through what you guys are doing. Again, thanks so much for taking a hang out with me in the live stream. For all of your lawn care needs, your herbicides, fungicides, lawn care products, fertilizers, everything you need to create a lawn that your neighbors are absolutely going to envy, take a look at what we have to offer at the Golf Course Lawn Store, golfcourselawn.com. We'd love the opportunity to earn your business and be a part of creating a lawn that your neighbors are absolutely going to envy. Until next week, take care. I'll see you guys then.